Welcome to Lack of Focus, an X-Wing miniatures game podcast, brought to you by Dice 8 Productions. Hello everyone, welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus, episode 18. My battery is low and it is getting dark. I am your host Ed Horn, and alongside me tonight, my partner in crime and gaming, one Mr. Chad Brown. Chad, how's it going, my friend?
Hey everybody.
Of course, our producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Kris Sheriff. How's it going, my friend?
Good, thanks, Ed.
And we're a full team tonight. Sean Dorsey's joining us tonight.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry, I apologize. I'm cameraless, but I'm having internet issues, so no camera tonight.
Oh, boo. Oh, well, we got a ton to cover tonight. Of course, we've got a whole bunch of Republic articles that came out. We've got a new special edition vehicle we can talk about as well that's going to be available only in one location. We've got a bunch of lists that we're going to be covering over. We asked the listeners to submit some lists. We're going to be covering over that, and I actually have a ton of games to talk about in the flight deck, and that might allude into something we're doing into the future. So we're going to cover all of that and more coming up right after that.
All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by. Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
All right, we're back, and in the flight deck, we're going to cover over any lists we've been flying, games we've been playing, events we may have attended. I know I've played almost everyone on the show except for one, so why don't we start the one that I haven't played? Sean, we'll give you the ball first. What have you been doing lately, my friend?
Not a lot. Haven't had time to play X-Wing in the last couple weeks. Just been busy with life, unfortunately. But got to watch a couple good games of X-Wing, or one good, one
I don't know if I could.
Sort of. We'll classify it as good to make people feel good. Probably
I would.
not.
You don't have to spare my feelings. You were like my Vince Lombardi on the sidelines coaching, my friend. That worked fine for me.
Yeah, it was pretty gruesome actually, but hey, it was fun at the end. So
It's fun at the end. It really was.
But yeah, when we talk about the other stuff, I'll be, people will see me playing, at some point in time. So
They'll be able to join it and watch it themselves. It'll be awesome.
yeah, no kidding. But nothing really big this past couple weeks. Hopefully very soon I'll be getting games in on Vassal. So
That's the plan, at least, hopefully. All right, well, then I'll kick the ball over to Chad. Chad, what have you been doing lately, my friend? I know you've been kind of still laid up. You're still under injury, so I don't know if you've gotten much to the game store other than the game that we played.
No, I just had that squash the noob game I played against you.
I give everyone really good games for them to win.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a good game. I mean, it's pretty much like, I could just set my ships up and set ships up on the other side of the board, not have anybody over there, and just, fly over and just destroy them.
So I'll admit, of the games I played this week, I still think that one was my best because I think I flew the best of all those games. I still lost.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So why don't you kind of go into the list, because I will obviously be talking a ton about my games, oddly enough, for an episode of Lack of Focus.
So basically I was running my Vader with the homing missile on him. And
yeah, you kind of refined this list now.
Yeah, I put the homing missile on him. I put the heightened perception.
Yeah, this was
shoot at 7, and
came into play.
Oh, did I have anything else on Vader? Oh, fire control system.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of gets stapled to that card.
Yeah, so I had that. I had Vermeil with Krennic and outmaneuver and shield upgrade, and then Pure Sabak with shield upgrade and outmaneuver also. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, you always kind of get disappointed when you recognize the fact they have an extra shield. You get through all the work of trying to take a ship off the board, like, oh crap, it's not dead yet.
The look on your face when it's like, yay, I've done my second damage to Pure Sabak, and it's like, no, his power still works. That was a shield you knocked off, and it needs 2 damage cards.
Yeah, that is how it worked. So for me, this is going to be a common theme, so I'm going to be kind of going through the same list over and over. I am trying Supernatural Kylo. Of course, we had this post-point upgrade, so I never actually got to fly him with Null, sadly enough, and I really feel that would have been a fantastic addition with the coordinate on him. However, so I'm actually going to pull the list up to make sure I don't screw it up. But it's just Kylo is supernatural. I don't think I put anything else on him. He's basically bare beyond that. But supernatural Kylo is still super fun to fly. Oodles and oodles of fun. I was, of course, running Quick Draw. Quick Draw is amazing. We gave her the gunner, fire control systems, and then I've been bouncing back and forth whether I was using Juke or Fanatical. So I think in this particular game she had Juke, and the rest of the game she had Fanatical. And then the question becomes: is what low tie FO am I going to run? So the first one I ran was Long Shot. Chad recognized it immediately and said, "No, that's not going to work."
And when you've got ships that move before they move, it's real easy to bypass that range 3.
Yeah. And
get into range 2 and Pure Sabak and Vermeil the crap out of them.
Yeah. I try. So basically, the way that it feels like to me, that third ship, that FO, is mostly just a partner for Quick Draw, and something to either get in the way and allow Quick Draw to get off a ton of shots and be able to destroy something in front of her, or in future games where it's going to be running a coordinate and being able to allow her to get the target lock and focus to be able to maximize her firepower. So if it's in the game for 4 or 5 rounds, whatever it amounts to, it's mostly just there to kind of boost her up. And then Kylo is kind of swooping in and out of the list, trying to be able to take out other ships. So in your game,
you did none of that.
And I did. Well, no, because I think you took out Long Shot like immediately, which was a flaw in the list, in my honest opinion. It's just, I thought it might be interesting to kind of run with it, but I really should have been running something with with the ability to take a talent to be able to take the coordinate on it. And so I ended up in future games, I ended up running Muse, and which ran much, much better.
It'd be more impressive if you had the ability to have talent and actually play decently.
Yeah, I'm getting there though. I'm getting there. The upside to this though is obviously we have four games. I played 4 times as much X-Wing between the last 2 episodes than I normally would play, because normally I get to squeeze in that one game during the week, and that's kind of it.
I thought you only played 3.
No, there was that one night that Kris kicked my teeth in within 4 moves, and then we played a second game after that. Yeah, that was,
a lot of Ed's games have a common theme of where he sits there and goes, "Yep, no, I can't win this. I'm done."
Yeah, but again, I'm getting better. It's for me, in all true seriousness, it's just a question of getting reps in. I want the list to work, but I think I'm finding that the list doesn't function the way that I want it to. I'm still stuck in a first edition mentality that aces are arc dodgers and they come in and they blast the crap out of everything. And Supernatural Kylo does not play that way. This whole list does not play that way. The main way to win with that list is to swoop in with Quick Draw and whatever other ship is with it, take out a ship, and then spend the rest of the game flying around trying not to get Kylo shot, because Kylo is basically half of your list. And I don't know that I like that, to be perfectly honest with you. It doesn't match my playstyle.
It's cheap.
I don't want to front anyone, or I don't want to fault anyone for taking that particular playstyle. I really don't. It is a legitimate playstyle playing to the clock. I think that if you were on the final table at Worlds and that was kind of your strategy, I think that might be a little frowned upon, but winning is winning. So, I mean, there is kind of a balance there. For me, I know it's not my particular playstyle. And our previous show that we used to host before, I've encountered many situations in tournament play where I had an opportunity to fly away and guarantee a win, or turn in and take shots. And I've always taken that option of turning in and taking the shots. Because for me, and again, maybe this is just the difference between second edition and first edition. Like, to win the game, you had to blow up all the ships. And we had those lists that kind of did that back in first edition where, I'm going to shoot, like, what am I thinking? Like the fortressing lists. And our dear old buddy Richard Sue being one of the folks that kind of pulled that one off, where he just kind of stuck around in a corner for the whole time during Worlds, blew one ship up and took off and won the game. Yeah, you did. You beat the time, but it doesn't feel like a win. Like, to me, feeling like a win is tabling someone, get all the ships off the board, or at least getting most of it off. So if that's what I feel is my playstyle, is getting in there, rolling dice and blowing stuff up, this isn't the list for me to do that. So now I need to kind of rethink that. I'm like, okay, so if that's how I want to play the game, and that's really what I feel is my playstyle, I need to find the ships and pilots that match into that playstyle. So I learned quite a bit. I mean, again, I lost all 4 games. I had a ton of fun doing it. We had a lot of fun moving forward in these next games.
You didn't lose the last game.
Okay, I didn't lose the last game, but
I lost that game where it was against Ed, Sean, and Chad.
Yeah, exactly. It because I had coaching going on. Because that one was more of an
I
open.
was making fun of you the whole time.
Yeah, you were. Well, all right. So let's kind of get into that one. Chad, do you have anything more that you want to cover beyond that? I don't want to kind of roll over your time before we.
Well, since I've been stuck at home, I've been doing a lot of painting, so not actually really gotten to fly a whole lot. I watched your guys on Vassal, and apparently I found out that me and my one laptop screen, I could see a hell of a lot more than the rest of the three guys in this talk who all have two screens.
Or more.
Yeah. Because I was noticing things, and they're like, "How are you seeing that?" And I'm like, "It's right there on the screen." And I find out Ed and Kris and Sean all had two
I don't
screens
need
they're
to
looking
pull
at.
damage cards. It's fine.
All right, so then we'll kind of get into that one. So, of course, Kris, your wife and child not only left you on Valentine's Day, they left you on your birthday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Belated, but happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, so it's also Family Day this weekend. So
Is that a Canadian holiday?
yeah, it replaces whatever your crappy holiday is on Monday. I don't know.
Oh, ours is President's Day, but
Yeah, so like, well, you can celebrate Mr. Trump. I'll celebrate my family being in the UK.
I'm celebrating. My kids have to go to school to make up a snow day, and I don't have to go to work.
Oh,
That's what
yes.
I'll be celebrating.
So I was
Hey,
going to have a
come over,
painting
drink
day,
some
but
beer.
I feel like it's Vassal all day, every day Monday.
I think it might be. I think we might have to get. I do have some things I need to do for my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
but once that's done, Vassal.
Yeah. So I've done so much. Even when Jill and Nebe were still here, I feel like I've been playing so many different games. Like dropping the one shift and like D&D group like collapsing in on itself has left me with so much free time. I'm not even going to like do all of my games, so sorry to my opponents because I just can't fit them in. But I've played a lot with my double fang list. I think that might have been the list I played with you in the first game, was it?
That was the first game, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Fenrow, Crackshot, Old Tarot, Crackshot, Captain Seavor with Duke, and Trickshot on the Adrian Pioneer with Tactical Officer.
Oddly enough, that damn shuttle should have been my primary target. I think whenever target priority came down, that was my mistake because that thing was so much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's good in
Yeah.
it. But
It itself never fired a shot, to the best of my knowledge, during the course of that game. But the coordinate that it was pulling off was super
I
super
thought it
helpful.
fired once.
yeah,
Hit
so
me.
there was a comment on YouTube for the last show where I think I mentioned this list, and it was like, you should really think about dropping Duke off Captain Seavor because he can't get a free evade. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Watch me.
Yeah. I promise you, Seavor isn't on a rock shooting you with focus evade every turn. I promise.
Yep.
It's so, like, no, I'm not rolling 4 dice for my evades because my shot's obstructed. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. It absolutely worked.
It's like,
so
oh no, you're not going to get jammed away that focus token you saved for Seavor's duking shot.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, the list is kind of dirty. It really
It's
is.
good.
Good list, just kind of dirty.
I think.
But anyway, so whenever you were gone, we decided had been talking about it for a few weeks. This actually probably goes back a couple of months. We're like, hey, you should install Vassal and play some games on Vassal. Well, with Kris home alone and nothing else to do, and I was like, oh, let's play a game. And then it came, hey, let's play a couple of games over the course of the last couple of weeks. And everyone joined in on Skype, and it was like being at my own local game store. I was playing somebody, Chad's telling me how much I sucked during the course of the game. It felt like it was at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good fun. We definitely need to record next time. I'll need to try and set up and do some in focus stuff for our Patreon.
Yeah. If anyone's interested in watching me play horribly,
But I think
Just something me make fun of him. And it is like when he's at home too, because when he's at home and me and him play, I'll tell him he sucks even when his kids are in the room.
Yep. While we're playing a game too.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't want to record the first couple because I wanted us to get more comfortable on Vassal again. But before, you were like me dragging all my dials and revealing everything at once multiple times. And
Yeah.
all of my ships just moved. Oh.
If I can, real quick, shout out to Muon for all of the stuff. I have not played in Vassal's environment in quite some time, probably well over a year, maybe even two. To see all of the changes that he has put in for second edition, the auto bumping, auto correcting itself, when you reveal a dial, the ship automatically moves, like all of the intuitive things that he's done, it's almost like playing on the real tabletop now. He did such a fantastic job, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. So if you've ever played a game on Vassal, throw one up or throw a couple of dollars over to Muon for all the hard work he's put in. It's outstanding.
His dice sucked in real life, like they do on Vassal. So.
Exactly. Like I said, it's exactly like playing on the tabletop.
I do want to point out, so a new Vassal update has just come out, that one of the features is now a list escrow service. So you both have to submit your list to the escrow, and then it'll generate both of them at the same time. If you're the person who made this need to be a feature because you were waiting for your opponent's list, then generating your hard counter, for shame. Shame.
Yeah.
Get a grip, man. It's a game. Just play something fun. Oh.
Well, and in my opinion, like most people are playing on Vassal to practice lists and practice and prepare for a tournament. You're not going to have that option. So if you've got a hard counter list to somebody else's list and you're preloading that, come on, man.
So I remember playing a game on Vassal a while ago. It was with one of the fans of Nova or something. It was training himself for a system open from first edition, and he wanted to practice against a specific build. So I threw it down, and he said something like he wasn't going to bother using the dials. He would just put his moves in, and then not cheat. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And if you cheat, I don't care because I'm not the one training for an event. If you want to, if you want to wait and see where all my ships have gone and then pick the perfect move post my ship's moving, do it. You're only cheating yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't understand that mentality. I mean, it doesn't gain you anything. What does it gain you? It gains you nothing. If your whole purpose is to learn, we learn more through our failures. So I should be learning an awful damn lot. We learn more through our failures than we do successes. So if you're just going to say, oh, I'm going to counter that list with this list and win, what did you learn? You didn't learn anything. You need to learn how to, because you're not going to have that option in a tournament. You're not going to have that in a local event whenever you go into the store. If you're up against a hard counter to your list, you need to fight your way out of it.
So I played my double fang list for 3 games, and that was undefeated. It always feels good. Then I ran my Vader.
This close to killing Fen. This close.
Fine, Fen can die, so it doesn't matter. Tivor and the Outer Pioneer will still mess you up.
Yeah, and that's where my target priority was totally messed up. Fen was my first big scare. I wanted to get Sivo off the board first and then go for Fen. That was not the order to do that against that list.
Yeah. The other one list I've played quite a lot was Vader, Pure Sabak, Duchess, and Wampa. So Pure Sabak and Duchess both have Crackshot. Vader is running with Afterburners and Fire Control. Gives me a 9-point bid for that one, which I really, really like. I'm still really enjoying this list. It's definitely my favourite one to play. It survived the points change and got cheaper. I took the shield upgrade off Pure because I didn't like it. I felt like it changed the focus into Pure Sabak being more expensive and then having to do more work, but still being just as big a target. So going back down to Crackshot, but he's 45 points, so still only 2 points more than Duchess, but it doesn't feel as bad when it goes down first anymore. And then
I never got a chance to see that list. Thankfully.
No, you've not played against this one yet. This one is so much fun. It's definitely my favourite list to fly at the minute. I just can't quit it.
I got the double Upsilon list with quick draw.
So yeah,
mistakes were made.
I think there's a listener question later on talking about like triple ups and stuff. But I wanted to test not running triple upsilons, but still doing what triple upsilons do. Which, instead of a third, you go with quick draw. You lose 6 hit points, but you gain an initiative 6 ship who
hits like a tank.
you don't really want to fight her in the end game. So I thought it would be better. I've played 3 games with it in all. I think yours was the only game I actually won with the list.
Oh, really?
So caveat on that, definitely my target priority for the opening was 100% wrong in the other 2 games. So I played against a list that had a named Kimagilla, a Torkil Mux, and 2 named Kurax fighters. The one that gets behind you and rolls extra dice, and the one who, if she rolls more than 2 evade, you get a stress. And then the Kimagilla was, if you bullseye someone after you attack, unless they remove a green token, they take a damage. And that's everyone in your bullseye if you attack. So I was like, oh, because Dormitz lines up behind the initial Upsilon, I don't want to be taking damage on both of them just from his stupid bullseye. So I went and alphaed the Kimagilla. But that meant I'd left Torkil undamaged. So then it was like, oh, quick draws initiative 0. And he got through quick draw shields in 1 round of shooting. So I only got 1 bonus shot. And I couldn't put the damage through. Relatively frustrating. I think if I just alpha Torkil, I win that game. So that was definitely a player error on my part. The second game was against the same opponent. He was running... He didn't have a 4th Phantom, so he was running 4 Phantoms with 3 Phantoms, and he chose to take a tie advance at initiative 4. So I think it might be Balan Rudor, I can't remember. No, it's the one that has Juno Eclipse's old ability. And for some reason, I was like, oh, well, tie advances die really easy, so I'll just kill that first. And then I was right. Tie advances die really easy, so I killed that first, and then the Phantom shit rolled me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've got Juking Phantoms. Fuck.
I totally forgot how good that is.
Yeah. So again, I think if I go in alpha off a Phantom in the open, that game's easier because I got quick draw into the end game, but it was against one. It was still 3 Phantoms. I had 1 heavily damaged, and no, in fact, I couldn't even hit. I was the dice were pretty shit, but I still fucked it up anyway. Even if one of them was heavily damaged, you can keep that one away. And but Will played that pretty well. He pulled range at the right time, so I was like, if he's shit at the game and just stays fighting close, I can still win this. And that turn, he just decloaked away and had 1. I'm like, okay. Damn it. Why aren't you shit at the game? You've removed my only win condition, you being shit.
Can't always count on that one.
Yeah. So that was good fun. Yeah.
And then I got to see a Lando.
Oh yeah.
Wedge list. Let's not forget about that
I
one.
Definitely didn't throw that one together to be a teach you to play the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is the one that I had.
I don't even have it saved. I can't even tell you.
Alright, so I'm trying to remember because I remember it was Lando with Leia Crow.
Yeah,
Lando is dirty. That setup was dirty.
Oh, that Lando was so it was Lando with Nyan Num and Leia with Luke Skywalker Gunner from memory.
Yeah, and then
trick shot is a talent.
Didn't you have the R2D2 on it?
No, R2D2 was on Wedge.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had like a 70 odd point wedge, like a stupid point wedge. He had proton torpedoes, R2D2, and crack shot on wedge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was just we started off the game. It's like your only job is to not let wedge shoot proton torpedoes at you.
At Kylo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happened twice.
No, I shot Muse. I killed Muse with protons.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, right. He only fired 1 at Kylo, which I was able to survive. And that's the only reason the game even came into question, though.
Yeah. And then we played to a time limit, and you won on time because you made the right choices.
Yeah, like flying out of combat, which is also where I realized that this is not the list for me. As much as I want it to be, that's where I realized it's not the list. Because there were many occasions in that game where I wanted to be turning Kylo into combat, and I'm like, I can't because Wedge is going to vaporize him if I do.
Yeah. And that's I set up my dials, put them on the board, and then we sat and spoke about your options with like the four of us had the conversations.
Yeah, like literally, we're talking before dials are set. Well, if you do here, you go here. Like, so, like that's why I'm not even necessarily considering "quote unquote" a game. It's more along the line like if you do this, this is what's going to happen, kind of scenario. So it was more training session than anything else.
But you still would.
Yeah,
So
well,
I've kind of tweaked, I think, the list I gave you that you should run instead. So I was going to give you the updated version. So I've not put it on the table yet, but so we were talking about it. You wanted to run quick draw, Kylo, and an SF, but after we went through it, like Kylo.
Yeah, we're thinking that Kylo might not be. So if we're not going to go Kylo, we can save a ton of points.
Yeah. So
by going down to Blackout.
Yeah, Blackout with a proton torpedo is the same points as Kylo naked. So we went Blackout with Trick Shot, which frees up, like say, a metric shit ton of points. Then we went, I went in the new version of the list. I went Midnight with Fanatical and Advanced Optics, which is 50 points. And then I went Quick Draw with Fanatical, Fire Control, Special Forces Gunner, and Afterburner, which I don't think was on the one we spoke about.
No, we missed that one.
And that gives you a 7-point bid with 2 I6s and an I5. A proton torp, which if you can fire that through a rock, really hurts.
Yeah, and keeping in mind that all of those are hard-hitting pilots. Quick Draw getting double shots. You've got Midnight that's going to be able to prevent people from using abilities, and then you've got a proton torpedo on Blackout on top of all that. That I think feels more me. I'm really looking forward to playing it this week on the table or in Vassal to see how it works out.
I'm definitely excited myself to try Quick Draw. Try Quick Draw with Afterburners, because I think there's quite a few Speed 3 moves on the dial. Well, Speed 7, don't know what I'm talking about. Speed 3 moves on the dial, which I want to be doing, and that being able to trigger the Afterburners for the boost and like potential boost barrel roll into rotating arc. I think at 65 points for that Quick Draw, I think it feels kind of more AC than Quick Draw normally. I think of as more of a brawler, but I think that kind of makes her into the full-on ace mode.
Yeah, where she can do a little bit of arc dodging or getting in and out of arcs. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the list I'm quite excited to test. I have finalized 5 lists into my new storage system. So
yeah, you were telling me about this. So is this the stuff you go to the game store with? Like, what do you want to play? I'll pull this list kind of thing.
So when I played Saturday, when I played yesterday, I said to my opponent, pick a number between 1 and 5, because I've got 5 of them ready. Pick number 3, and that was my the Vader list. It was the 3rd list in the pile.
And you're like, oh, goody, I like this list.
I was actually looking forward to trying something else. Because I've played that list so much. And he was running... I played against Jerry, who's a Patreon. I gave him his lack of target lock tokens. No, I forgot to take them. So I need to give them in tomorrow at the tournament tomorrow.
I was going to say, because those came in and we don't even have those yet. Yeah. You have them, but we don't.
I was using them. Good. That's why I won.
Oh, good, of course.
Definitely the reason I won. Not because Jerry was running Resistance list with Chewbacca with no upgrades and 4 A-Wings with no upgrades. Because he wanted to run Chewbacca with as many ships as you can fit in, try and maximize the potential revenge fire from Chewbacca. So I was like, okay, Jerry.
So wait, his whole plan was to go in and say, these ships are going to die.
Yeah.
That's the game plan.
So the plan is, you take a focus with Chewie, then hope that they kill something so Chewie can take his target lock action and get an extra attack. So I went, okay, we'll play this game. I jousted 2 of his A-Wings with Pure Sabak, Wampa, and Vader. Apparently Vader doesn't need Pure Sabak or Wampa's help, because I just nuked an A-Wing off the board. I even forgot, so as a spoiler, because you get to choose how you modify. There's a couple of things in this game I was just going through showing, because it was at the game store, they're showing people how the rules interact and what you can do with this relatively simple and stripped down Vader. So you can modify a hit to a crit with advanced targeting computer if you've got the target locked.
Correct.
Yeah. But so I didn't do that, and then I spent my target lock. So I only had one crit showing, and he blocked one. So he blocked one, so the crit got through anyway. But it was direct dead. But yeah, Vader doesn't need any help.
Exactly.
In turn one, I rolled perfect evades as well. Not full evades, but the exact match to what he rolled for hits. So I have 3 hits, 3 evades. 2 hits, oh, I only got 2 evades this time. 1 hit, oh, look, I rolled 2 blanks and an evade.
Yay!
Yay! Sorry, Jerry. But I, at that point, I'd already killed a ship and put 2 damage on Chewie for no damage to my list. I left Chewie on 1 hull, and then my goal became I want to fly Vader over a rock, so I can teach you how how afterburners work. Because if you fly Vader over a rock and he doesn't bump, he still completes his maneuver, so you can still afterburner. Afterburning is an action, which means you can then use Vader's ability to barrel roll, and then you can use Vader's ability to target lock, and you can use Vader's ability to focus. So you can fly over a rock and still do all of your actions.
Yeah, but you burn through all your force, though.
I don't give a fuck. If you're dead, I don't care. But it's just another thing in the toolbox. So when you'll be unsurprised to hear, when I field that Vader list, I use 3 big rocks. I don't put debris clouds on the table. I want the big rocks, because then you can still shoot Vader over them and get all his actions still. And even being able to fly over a rock to somewhere they probably didn't think you were going to go and still boost and barrel roll. It's just extra stuff for people to count for, because not many people realise that it's possible.
And then by the time they do, it's too late.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I've done 4 actions. Get to my perform action stack now. Oh, I skipped that.
Oh darn.
Yeah. Jerry inadvertently blocked me like 3 times from trying to do it. So Vader's just sat on a rock, not shooting him, while Duchess is like, God damn it, this guy's so heavy. Duchess is just pointing away at these A-wings and having fun. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I really like that list. I do. I can't deny it. But yeah, so there's that one, that list, the Scum list we've already spoken about. The Blackout list is in the case as well. I have an extended list I want to try, which was going to be bad, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fun.
I feel really bad. Like, I'm almost not paying attention to extended. Like barely conscious of what's going on out there in extended, because like hyperspace is really where I'm focusing.
Yeah, but I wanted to see after the points increase if Punishers were still good.
Mm-hmm.
So at 200 points, I've got Redwine with advanced sensors and protons, Death Rain with with trajectory simulator, proton bombs, skill bombardier, and proton torpedoes, and then Sydney FL with crackshot.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm not taking it too seriously. I don't think it's going to be a system open winning list, but I think that it's good fun. 200 points. Don't have a bid, but whatever. Then I've got my double Upsilon list, which has gone through another revision.
Have you revised it since I played it?
Yeah. You can still fit in Dormit with hyperspace tracking. Mm-hmm. Then you can upgrade to Lieutenant Taverson with collision detector in hyperspace. So that means when you shoot him,
that was so super annoying.
Yeah, you can take actions. And then quick draw is still quick draw gets afterburners with that change. So
I wonder where that idea came from. From toying with my list.
Yeah. So I'm not convinced. If they put the base points up for Upsilons, I would still just take this list instead. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and you get just a safety tip out there for all of the Lack of Focus fans. If you're interested, Upsilons on eBay, or not on eBay, on Amazon are $13.50 US, dirt cheap for the first edition versions of them. I don't own any. I never bought the ship because I wasn't a big fan of it to start off with. I'm gonna go buy two just because they're dirt cheap.
I
So-
have one. They're cool.
I would point out, just as a caveat to this, FFG changes points now. Don't buy them and then complain when it's not legal.
Yeah, like if you run out and buy three, and then all of a sudden you can't run three anymore. That's why I'm only buying two.
Yeah. Alright. It's fine. It is what it is. Just as a caveat, it's not endorsed by Lack of Focus. You can't complain to us saying we told you to go and buy 3 of them.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, do it if you really want a cool ship looking on the shelf, but don't do that.
I like 8 of them. You'll love it.
Okay.
A whole fleet of them.
I don't know. What else have I done?
They're gonna look great in my case. That's what they're gonna do.
I think I'm done for the flight deck. I've played some of Song of Ice and Fire, testing a list for Crate Cup. That worked really well. Ned Stark is a beast. Apparently, the only way you beat him is you say, "Do you want to kneel down when I chop your head off?" And he goes, "Yeah." If you don't ask him, he just fucks your day up. Really seriously. He in the final turn of the game, it was 6 victory points to 4. I was losing, and I managed to kill with Ned's unit a full unit of Mountains men with Bronn and the Mountain that rides in one turn. And they weren't both engaged with me at the start of that turn. So I got to charge for Mountains men and Bronn, get the charging attack, do a second attack from claiming the swords with Caitlin, and just butchering that unit, which lets you reposition. Then I actually activated Ned's unit after he'd already attacked twice to charge a mountain and shit on him as well. Like, yeah, you goddamn Cleganes don't deserve to live.
Is there a turn limit to that game?
It's a 6-turn game, but it also...
Okay, that's what I thought.
It finishes one... if you achieve a points limit, you win. So it's in 40 points, which is the standard point level. If you get to 10 points, you just win. Which is it's interesting. I like it.
We have to do a Lack of Focus just in that game because I'm a huge fan of the universe. It's again, I don't want to dive into another game if I don't have anybody else to play with. We had that conversation before.
I'm all in. I'm so in. It's so good. I think.
All right. Well,
I'm so in.
You're way in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my entire flight deck, we literally just discussed because all the games that I played with the guys here on the show, which moves into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. I had tossed around an idea of maybe doing an inter-show competition, if you will. We are all in multiple different locations. The only 2 folks that I'm aware of that can actually get together on a fairly regular basis and play games against each other are Chad and myself, because we're both in Western PA. Kris is obviously in Canada. Sean's in Omaha. We don't actually interact in person quite a lot. So the idea of being able to have an inter-show competition, though, and play it all out on Vassal for you guys to watch and poke fun of us, I thought would be a really cool idea. So each week we would pick a faction and say, okay, this is going to be our Rebel week. Build a Rebel list, play everybody once in the show on Vassal. How do we do? Kind of keep a score, who's winning, who's losing. I'll be on the bottom, but I'll have fun and I'll enjoy it.
So I did have a follow-up to this idea, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought we could get Patrons to submit a list for one of us to play.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So,
and actually, we do a random draw on who has to play it.
On who gets to play it. That's a great idea.
Oh, dang it. I was hoping that I was going to say I can get my son to join Patreon real quick and he can design me a Rebel list.
Well, it only works for 1 week. Depending on how far this goes and if we enjoy doing it, I think we will. But I mean, if we we can go into, okay, so this week it's Rebels but no name pilots. You have to do nothing but generics. Do all kinds of neat little twists on it, that kind of thing. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. I mean, obviously schedules are a little bit iffy. I know some people get a little bit more time than others, but I think in 2 weeks to be able to get 3 games on Vassal should be relatively easy to pull off.
I like the Patreon suggesting the lists and stuff, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
I like
who's
that a lot.
playing? These are the next two lists. I like that one too.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I think like okay, so Ed's playing Chad, so we'll give Chad 3 X-wings. He can have a trench run, and then
Ooh.
Ed can have Vader and a decimator. But Ed can have 4 phantoms, and Chad can have a Y-wing, and that's it.
So do we want to make this hyperspace or extended, or how do we want to do that?
We can vary it up. I don't know. Pick each time we put a post up, or I speak to the list. I don't know. Like I said, we can work out the details before the end of the show. We can close with putting the first request out, maybe.
Yeah.
I think starting with Rebels is a good idea if we want to, and kind of just flow from there.
I was thinking, do you really want to do all of us play the same faction, or do you want to do all of us have to have played all of the factions at some point? I don't know. Because do you want to? Because then if we all do Rebels, it's Rebel on Rebel all the time.
Yeah, fair argument. That is a good argument. Maybe, yeah. Okay, so we've got 5 factions now at present, as of now. A couple of weeks later, a couple of months, that's going to change. So yeah, I would say for the moment, draw up 5 individual lists, have them ready, and get another squad builder, and random roll. And then once a list is off the board, you can't take it again.
Yeah, something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll have our details this weekend, and then when the show comes out, we'll have some posts and polls ready to go, I think.
Yep, sounds like a great idea. I'm all in. All right, so that's going to do it for the flight deck. We're going to roll into the news, and we've got some stuff to talk about. They've been talking a lot of Republic. I'm going to jump to the end of the list, though, just because I have a real quick one. So they announced today this...
Spoiler, it's not going to be quick.
It could be quick.
We're not taking a break.
I guarantee you it's not quick.
Is it ever quick?
Chad, to fill you in, no, because, and I don't care if this stays on camera or not, where Kris puts the commercials, he's only putting 2 commercials, so we have to condense these 2 segments into one, and then the following segment into these 2 ones. It's just for...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want too much YouTube revenue, that half a cent per ad was really starting to, rack up. I didn't want the IRS looking into me. No, I honestly think this makes it a better viewing experience only having the 3 ad breaks.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. All right, so let's kind of dig into it. Standing out of the storm, FFG has announced something for as long as I follow the game, the first time that I've seen this. They are going to have a special edition limited Vulture droid available for Adepticon 2019 attendees only. It's the same ship, it just has a different paint scheme. It's gold, looks really, really cool, and only available if you come to Adepticon.
Ooh.
How do we feel about that?
You're going to have to actually host here and do us all individually, I think, because we'll just all talk at once.
Yeah, fair argument. All right, so I'm going to hold my thought process on this one. Sean, how do you feel about...
Don't like it. I'm just going to start right there. I don't like the idea. One of the issues that I have is that, or one of the things that was great about tournaments in the past, was there's no exclusive anything unless you won stuff. Then you earn the exclusive material at that point. And now, one of the things I do like is the fact that it's not like Attack Wing, the Star Trek Attack Wing game, where that ship would be unique. It would have something unique about it compared to everything else. So I do like that.
Yeah, and those ships were broke as hell and actually destroyed the game because luckily it's not that. It's legitimately just an alternate paint scheme for the ship.
But one of the things that I don't like for X-Wing, and I hope it doesn't become this, but I understand why they're doing it. I understand it's a great way to attract people to come to these, these cons, these events, My question is, are they going to do it for all of them? Are they going to do it for Nova Open? Are they going to do it for all the other system opens that are out there? Are they going to do it for just everything? And if Fantasy Flight's going to go this way, are we going to start seeing it in the what do they call them? The kits that come out now, or even like store championship kits or the regional style kits.
Oh wow, you're really going down the rabbit hole of this and where this could go.
Well, it could though. The problem is, once you open that, once you start digging the hole, how deep does that hole go? And it's
before we go too deep down the rabbit hole, I think we'll just grab initials, impressions from others, and then we can go deeper. Maybe
my biggest one is just I don't like the exclusivity. You have thousands of people that are playing X-Wing, and you're going to have hundreds of people with, potentially with these ships. So, not a huge fan of that, but I understand. It's market. It's what Fantasy Flight wants to do. It's their ball, their game. Go ahead.
I agree. My initial impression was, Christ's sake, I'm going to have to spend $150 now to get this ship. So I can't go to Adepticon. I'm going to Crate Cup, and hopefully I can get a press pass to Worlds. And I'm a stay-at-home dad now. I don't have this disposable income to just go to any con. At least I'm on the same continent, but I still can't do it. And then about 30 seconds into this train of thought, I was like, or I could just not.
Or I could just not.
Yeah, I could use that $150 and actually buy Wave 3. Yeah, I don't care. Oh, look, my Vulture Droid isn't painted gold. Oh, well, who gives a fuck?
But aren't you a commissioned painter? If you wanted a Vulture Droid painted gold, couldn't you do it?
Yeah, I get it. I'm a sucker for an exclusive model. I really enjoy the concept of it. But we'll get, as we go deeper into it, I'll give my thoughts on that. But ultimately, I'm like, I'm not getting scalped for one of these. If one comes and it's like $30, I'll pay $30 for one. Yeah, okay, you can make some money off it, but they will be going for $150, $200.
Yeah.
And whatever, man, do what you want.
Chad, what do you think? Exclusive paint job for the Vulture Droid at Adepticon.
I think I get where they're coming from on it. I've been to some different cons myself, and I've seen like, hey, there's this exclusive thing or that exclusive thing. They just want to get in on it, I think. But for me, I'm not going to spend my money on something like that just to sit there and be like, oh, look, I got this particular ship, and then have somebody sit there and go, oh, how was Adepticon that year? And be like, oh, I didn't go. I just bought it off eBay. I mean, it's all it is just something to say. I either spent too much money to get it off eBay, or I actually went to the event. Outside of that, it's still the same ship.
So oddly enough, I went down the same route that Kris went down. My thought process was, I'm going to have to spend $150 to get this one ship because I'm a completist asshole and I have to have everything. And then I went, well, wait a minute. It's the same sculpt. It's just a different paint job. Like, if the sculpt would be different, like if it were in Vulture Droid mode and that's what they were doing, I'd be at 150. Yep, I'm going to spend that money on that. Because I'm not going to Adepticon this year. I'm going to spend it. But it's the same sculpt. All it is a different paint job. So for me, it's the same thing, in my opinion, of having acrylic tokens versus cardboard tokens. It's a cool factor. I'm not going to lie. And when I see one, I'm going to be impressed to see it. But I'm not going to spend the money for it.
Buy one and give it to me.
Yeah. If I was at Adepticon, I would 100% queue up to buy one.
Yes.
I would invest my time to queue up to get one. It's not like I'm blasé enough about it to be like, I'm not even going to line up for that, because you will line up for this.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not, I don't know. It's not impressive enough for me to want to sink the money it would cost to get one in the secondary market. So
that's unless, like you said, that's unless they go for like $30 in the secondary market. Then okay, yeah, I'll do that. But
I'll be honest with you, I would be cool with it if it went to the 256 or however many players. That was it. You sign up, you win the lottery, you get into the tournament, you get the ship. I actually would be okay with that, because then you're rewarding people for making the effort to go to the con and to get the stuff. But my Fantasy Flight to me has always proven that they're not good at stuff like this. They
So-
run out. It's what's the production run?
Well,
How many?
I think that
How many?
comes into
How
it.
many are they going to produce? And then at the end of the day, it does come down to this to me is no different than the dice. It's no different than launching a wave early at Gen Con, and then everybody goes and buys 2 or 3 or 4 of everything, and all of it's on eBay for 3 times the amount it's worth. And I get it. I'm just never a fan of the exclusive side unless you put it within the tournament itself.
I would argue that doing it that way is probably not feasible because, as Ed said, it is an alternate paint. So you're paying some little Chinese child in a factory to paint it differently. So it's got to be a big enough run to
It's a
justify.
stamping.
Yeah, we know
You know how they're
we were all
painted. You
there
were-
when we talk about the A-wing and how cool it was how we do it. But
And how they paint them,
yeah.
you know how they paint them. It's a little stamp that paints them. But
Yeah.
I
but
see
we
where
still
you're
do
going.
it by hand. They still
Yeah.
stamp it by hand.
They still stamp
but-
it by hand.
What was that? Yeah. So the print run's got to be large enough. So if you only limited it to the tournament attendees, I don't think that's financially viable. I get why you would do it, and it's jumping on the bandwagon. Like everybody makes con exclusive models. What I would have liked to have seen, and the approach I really, really like, is Weird Miniatures. When they do like Gen Con exclusive stuff, for the period of Gen Con, you can buy it from their web store direct. So if you want one but can't go to a con, you just order it online.
Well, that begs the question too, like how big the print run was for it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you're not when you do that. But that's what I would have liked to see.
Didn't we learn with the damage deck though that you can't really do that? I mean, you're kind of it's the 6 dozen of 1 in this case. And Chris, I'm not talking about just doing a small print run. They never do. You look at how many regional dice that they had after the 2013 or 14, whenever the dice came out, the original dice. They were giving dice away. When I hosted when Worlds Collide, the first one, when Paul and Doug Kinney came to Omaha and played, that right there, they sent me like 10 packs of dice. And, when I was up there, they gave me like 3 packs of dice. And it's not like they just do these small print runs. I'm talking, they're going to produce a couple thousand of them. And then those will be the promotional items that they give away in like their hangar bays or their, side events that they do, which is what they've done with cards forever and a day and the tokens and everything else until they
That was exactly my line of thinking, that this would not be the last time we saw the ship available.
Correct. But the exclusivity of it would still be tournament driven. That's all I'm saying here is that tournament driven, link it to the tournament, make it like the templates or make it like the dice or whatever. Then it gives it some, some meaning and everything else. You win, you played in a tournament, awesome. Now you got this cool looking ship, now you walk away with it, and then you can throw it on eBay for $300, and somebody will buy it for $300. It's just the way that it is.
Kris, what were they selling the X-Wings for whenever you went to when they announced second edition
At
and
Worlds.
they passed at
I
Worlds?
don't even know. So you've seen my X-Wing coffee tumbler thing that they gave out. If you went to, so they gave out an X-Wing and a coffee mug, a coffee thermos. And I know the thermoses were going for $200. I could have sold it on a day to people for $200 US, and I didn't because it's my coffee. I like.
I wanted it. It's mine. Can't
Well,
have it.
Yeah,
But they've done that when they gave out the deck boxes, the black deck. When I went in 2015, I think was the last time I went, or 16 or whatever it was.
I thought they were
World
blue.
Championship, there.
Those black ones. Okay.
That's the 2017 one. There's a blue one.
I've got the
was-
2016 one sitting right here. I
Yeah,
have to take my headphones off to go get it, but I've got it.
Well, people were selling those, literally getting them, putting them on eBay for like $120, $150. I get value, and I'm not bitching about value here. I don't care. I don't care about secondary market.
Oh, secondary
just
market.
care-
What about these?
Oh, you're
on
putting it on camera. We can't see
Oh no,
that.
these
camera.
ones.
There you go. There you go.
The
Oh,
fans can see these ones though. Those first edition Target Locks said. I might just put them on eBay.
the first Target Locks I did, so hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Sean. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But you guys know me well enough now, and the people in the community know me well enough. it still, to me, still has to be tournament based. Make it so that it's worthwhile at the tournament, or and then print 5,000 of them, and you'll have a bunch to give out at every other event you ever do.
I think
Like the Guri cards.
I love that Guri
exactly.
So
Missed the boat on selling those.
I do think I'm a counterpoint to you on this, Sean, in that I'm more of a fan of the way that I don't like how they're doing it, but I would rather have that than making it a skill-based thing that you win these. Making stuff a prize.
No, Chris, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it as you enter. You go to Adepticon, you enter, you get. That's what I'm talking about. Not as a prize. If you're gonna do prizes, you'll do the really unique.
Yeah,
but that's all my thing is just make it so that it's worthwhile, and then you can do these again at other system opens.
So, what I
make
mean,
it a system, make it a system open exclusive.
So what I don't like with FFG, with prize support and the OP kits are brilliant. FFG is like a market leader in the OP. It was one of the main reasons Asmodee bought them out. And like the merger happened was the FFG OP system, and immediately when all those guys were moved over to Asmodee employees so they could milk them for all of the knowledge and how they do stuff. But I hate running a Keyforge event, and the prize is the winner gets a wild wormhole playmat, and it's like people and I always draft the prizes, so there'll be like a $20 gift card, a $10 gift card. You're only paying $5 to enter, and you just pick what you want, and you keep going until all the prizes are gone. And people take the playmat even though they've already got one because they just sell it for $65 on eBay. And another person might have actually taken that and used it and cherished it, and
and enjoyed it. Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, that person paying $65 is probably using it and enjoying it. So
but they didn't earn it.
I'm of the Aaron Bonner.
You've got to play the iron price, Sean. The iron price.
I'm of the mindset that Aaron Bonner is that I was at Worlds. Aaron Bonner gets handed dice, and he had literally two people there splitting a $500 or $600 cost, so they split the set of dice.
I have nothing.
Watch them hand them to him and sell them. Right there. I get that, and I'm okay with that portion of it.
Do you remember when we were at Worlds and they did those first gold and silver dice?
That's the Aaron.
Oh, so he's the one that sold them, because we went back to the hotel and there was someone playing and he had 2 full sets of the World's dice, and he was like, I paid $300 for them, or whatever the heck he paid for it. Today, you did that today. He won a set and then bought a set. That's nuts to me.
Yeah.
But that's where some of the competitive comes in, is that exclusiveness.
And that's what I don't like. It's a competitive element that it breeds in your event. So just play. So I don't know how so sorry, Dion, if I ruined this. And so I did an interview today with a guy called Ross, who's doing a series he's hoping to put on Dion's Gold Squadron channel. And it was just in Calgary, doing a community focus thing. I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't know how confirmed the series is, and it might never air. So I don't want to make print checks my body can't cash.
Exactly.
And one of the
things
things
from Chicago, you got to be careful with that. Just so you know.
It's okay if they pull a knife, you'll pull a gun.
Right.
They send one of yours to a
I
hospital.
pull a bigger knife.
That's the worst Sean Connery impression ever. I should do the entire show with different accents.
We're just having fun with your expense at the moment.
Yeah. But one of the things we're talking about is the competitive nature of the scene, and there's always a demon inside me. It's not a demon, but the snowflake inside me. I want to fly Juno Eclipse. Don't win the regional, just fly Juno. It's fun. And I just...
Chris, I'm the same way. How much of your so if I'm going all the way back to the first edition swag that I got, I got a lot of expensive stuff over the time frame that we were really heavy. That I give it away to all the patrons. I've got stuff all here. We'll do more draws at the end of the show today.
In honesty, the only stuff I've sold is I think I sold some stuff to you and Sean. I had a spec
amongst
where
us.
I had to like get stuff, like I had to generate some money because we're having a baby. So I sold some stuff then, but even then it's like, yeah, whatever. I think I sold my like queer regional dice. Did I go to you, Ed, or did I actually sell those properly? But I can't.
Yeah, you sold those properly. I wanted them, but I just couldn't afford them.
It was like I still sold them for less than the current market value was, and I would have sold them to you for even less than that. You know what I mean? And I hate that. Remember last show where I was talking about like I feel like I'm getting a bit too competitive. That's just playing normal fucking X-Wing. If I start thinking that there's actual money on the line here, and I'm like damn poor at the moment, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want that, and that's why I get what Sean was saying. That if you just give it out to everyone who went to the event, that's fine. But when you start making these exclusive prizes that are really, really cool, it just builds a demand, and a secondary market comes from that. And as much as I love FFG, I just don't like that aspect of it, and I'll never embrace it. And we're doing our Wave 1 Championship tomorrow, and I want to win. I want to win so that I can get those range rulers, because I'll be the only one in Calgary who has them, and I'm like, yeah, look how good at the game I am, you also.
Yep.
And then, whatever. So the ones I was using was my 2017, the bright orange ones. And my friend who was around, who I played on Tuesday, he had the maneuver templates that colour, but he had the peach range rulers. I was like, do you not have a matching set? So just take them. I just gave them to him, so he had a matched set. I don't care. Just whatever.
Yeah, but the convex to that is I do remember talking to players who that's how they got to the bigger tournaments. Like they played in their local events or regional events, sold off those things so they can make it to Worlds, because plane tickets are expensive and hotel stay is expensive. So that's how they funded their hobby, was through winning. And so that's kind of a weird dichotomy to kind of go through. Like, you don't want to discourage it, because I'm encouraging the competitive play of the game, and there is that secondary market that kind of comes along with it. That's why I always said, that's why I was really disappointed why FFG didn't do clear acrylic range templates with that pack that they did that we talked about the last show. Like, I really wish they had done clear ones and come up with like some clear acrylic tokens and all that stuff, so that you didn't have to have a secondary market. If you like, you can get the base ones if you want to get you out of the cardboard and into that, or you can then start getting into those markets there.
Okay, so I've got a hypothetical for all three of you then.
Sure.
We're going to do, say, the Wave 1 Championship range rulers. You can only get them for winning a Wave 1 Championship, so they're relatively rare because the kit's stupid expensive. Say they end up being worth $300, and it is known. This is a known quantity. Do you then have a problem with... I know that it would have happened in Calgary. One of the stores might have capped its Wave 1 Championship at 8 players. Because these 8 people are the people who support that store, playing their event every week. There all the time. They're the ones who support that store, who buy the product from that store. Are you going to drive in? So you're in the East Coast US type area. If someone does a 2-hour drive to come and scalp your little store and seal club, because it's $300, man. Yeah. Is that okay? So is it okay for a store to protect its local player base, because they're the ones who, we're only selling tickets to locals?
The store can do whatever they want. Once they buy the kit, I mean, ultimately it's up to the store to do. They could make it an invitational only. I don't have a problem with that.
See, that's not the route that I thought you were going to go down. I thought the route you were going to go down is that the store buys the kit and then never holds an event.
That's a different story.
Then pieces out that kit to make.
So that's where it's bullshit. So if a store buys the
kit completely
and then never does anything with the kit, I see stores,
stores sell with kits. Stores sell them, but
well, the old kits, you used to see them online. You'd see them, the range rulers, or one of the range rulers and half the cards, and so on. I don't care how a store runs an event. A store, if they wanted to make it an invitational, by all means, that's their prerogative. They paid the money for the kit. It's as long as they, and I've brought this up in years past, as long as they run the event, good. That's all that I care about.
So
I don't care how they do it. At the end of the day, just make sure all the prizes are given out.
So apologies to God and Greg for this one. So I've obviously run all the events at Sentry Box, and the way I do it personally is after a kit has been run, the promos that are left, I will just give out to people for free. Even if an event loses money for the event just through player turnout or what, I don't then save half of a kit to then try and run a second event and try and recoup it. It's like, yeah, we'll soak that cost. And then if you turn up and I was going to run it, we've got some extra proton torpedoes. Do you want the alternate art proton cards? Stuff like that.
We've done that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once that kit has been run, anything left over, I value at 0, and I would much rather it was done that way than I'd say.
Me too. Just to give it to new players in League.
I was asked today about running a Destiny event. Do we have the seasonal kit that had the Darksaber alternate art in it? I was like, probably. We've been pretty shit at running our Destiny events because people weren't coming out. I had a full kit. It's like, oh, can you sell these? No. If you want an event, there's a guy to go and speak to. Go and speak to him. Get him to run your event. You can run this kit, and then you can win one.
Yeah.
Right, but I wouldn't sell it. Like, you could offer any amount of money, but we're not selling the kit because it's not worth it. That's not how we do business.
Yeah, it's not worth the reputation of doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, getting back to the main portion of this.
What you mean? This wasn't a short one?
I thought it would be short, but who knew that?
You should know us by now.
Especially when it comes to this limited stuff. Absolutely.
Right. Well, limited stuff to me is, it's a difficult topic. It's going to be one of those things that some people are going to agree, some people are going to disagree. All the events, right now, if you wanted to play X-Wing at Adepticon, you get on a wait list. It's sold out. You're getting on a wait list. Now, the side events are still available, things like that, but for the system open, it's waitlist time. And okay, one of the things Fantasy Flight did is they capped the event. It's 256 and that's it. And then there's a day 2 and they're done. It's no longer the 2-day event that leads into a 3rd day, so 500 players that leads into a second day or, a second play day. It's now capped at 256. And when you're talking about all of this, Fantasy Flight right now is playing the limiting game by doing that. When I looked at Imperial Assault, they capped it at 40. And the wait list is gigantic for that, And I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, if you're going to start capping these things, fine. But, with ships and all this extra stuff, find a proper way to do it. What I'm going to hate to see, is day 1 of Adepticon and 300 of these things on eBay.
Yeah. So
at 300 a pop.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's a good close for this one. So I'm going to steal Ed's job for a moment, and I'm just going to interject before we go too much further. I think we should cover Republic and in-depth on Wave 4 in an in-focus, and just briefly cover what's going to be in Wave 4, as in that list off the ships and our thoughts on that.
Okay, so you'd like to save the Republic reveals, the 2 of them, as for an in-focus later.
Yeah, we'll just do an in-focus. Maybe if we play on Vassal on Monday, we could chat about that while we record that.
Yep, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it just means I can delete this tab now. Yeah, we're not talking about
that. Do you want to cover the Wave 4 briefly? Because
literally read off what's coming out. Chad can mock the shit out of me for about 10 minutes.
Because I was going to say, you can't rob the fans of this.
Hang on. Before we switch gears real quick, so you're saying the whole, so what we've been talking about that whole time is like that Christmas song where I mentioned the old art cards that were available before I even got them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody knows about the Christmas song. Nobody knows.
All
I
right.
wouldn't call it a song.
That would involve singing. That's not what we did. So, Wave 4 has been announced. I think I alluded to this before, but one of the things that jumped out to me right away, they are doing something that I thought they should have done years ago, and they are doing range rulers and deluxe movement templates to allow you to do this. They're plastic. They are not the cardboard. They get you out of that.
Have you seen the meme of where it's Thomas the Tank Engine on the flight stand?
What? No,
because it looks like train tracks. I'll find it and post it on our Facebook. So the in-use
thumbnail for the show.
Yeah. So the 3D render for this is fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
The actual packaging one looks fine, but the 3D render is terrible. So someone's redone it with a Thomas the Tank Engine driving along the track. So funny.
That's awesome. All right, so other ships that are going to be, we knew were going to do it. They're going to be doing the Hyena bomber class droid. We knew those were coming. The Resistance transport's going to be coming out. The TIE Silencer will be part of this one, so you'll be able to get your normal sized TIE Silencer. The Falcon, which I'm a little surprised it's waited this long to come out. The B-Wing, oh boy, can we pause for a moment on a fully articulating B-Wing? Can't wait.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
I am so pumped that B-Wing is now hyperspace available, or will be, that it makes my heart sing with joy.
It's a much sharper sculpt.
It rotates around the cockpit and the S-Files claws.
Oh, I can't wait.
It rotates around the cockpit and the S-Files claws.
This is
awesome.
I own 16 B-Wings.
I own 8, and I'm still going to buy 2 of these.
I own 16 of these fuckers, and I'm going to buy like 6 of these things just because I can. And I'm going to send 4 of them to Kris to paint them. You know, it's just, oh my God, it's my 3rd favorite ship in the whole game, and it's, you know, it took them to Wave 4, of course.
Okay, so just to quickly interject, because fucking Zach Matthews does this to us all the time on the Carolina Crates cast. So Zach's been calling us out for like Chad being wrong about Phantoms. Fuck you, Zach. I hate you. I love you really. But not once has he been like, oh, but Kris painted me that Fang Fighter when I was on the show with them, when I sent it to him and like did a nice job. Yeah, thanks, Zach. Oh, shout out to me painting ships for Zach Matthews. So he got it in time for his tournament. I rushed it through. Oh, so there you go. That's me being mean to Zach. And I love him.
So they talk about me and not the rest of you guys. Is that your complaint?
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say.
No, they talk about the people who are important on the show.
Oh, all right. Moving on. The Resistance transfer.
Really quick. Yeah. Go ahead, Ed. And why is this ship being made?
The Resistance transport, because it's canon. It was in a movie.
That's a horrible.
It's the same reason why the quad jumper's in the game.
You know that it's being made because Resistance need a cheap coordinate platform.
Yes.
I know.
Oh man, Pogue only gets 2 actions at 3 when you have BB-8. Needs 4 though.
Needs 4.
It would be really sad if you couldn't coordinate a focus onto Poe, then barrel rolling into a boost, query stress, and then target lock. That would make me sad. Especially because the good thing about this ship, like all sarcasm aside, is that it's like another one of those removable, like the pod comes off to be its own ship. So the control pod part of it is fieldable as its own ship, which is the one that Finn and Rose fly off in. It's a tiny little thing. So I bet you that has coordinate and costs like 7 points, and it's like, just leave it, stop it. Token FFG, token stacking's bad. Also, FFG, have some cheap coordinate, people.
So is this a medium base ship then?
It looks like a small base and a small base.
It's a $30 ship.
Yeah, so
MSRP is $30. So
you're getting 2 ships technically in the pack.
Yeah. So it's small base, but it comes with 2 ships. Because if you look at the spread,
I do get that.
Yeah.
It's just I don't I get it. It's a coordinate platform. Fully get it. but I don't get the point of it. Yeah, Resistance needs ships. They better put out like 15 movies then with the Resistance in it to keep the ships going.
You need something that's got Admiral Holdo and Leia as crew in there for Resistance as well.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Apparently, so I don't know because I don't go near that cancerous cesspool, but the X-Wing Reddit was apparently going batshit crazy over social justice warrior stuff for this shit, which just amuses me because it's like, dude, it's a card in the game. If it's got a shit ability, you won't use it. If it's got an awesome ability, you could be the biggest misogynist in the world, and you will still put Holdo on this shit.
Yep, absolutely.
Because winning is good. My morals are out the window.
All right, sliding off of that one, we've got the TIE SF is going to be out as well. Two relatively large surprises for me. Let's start off with the small one first. The Decimator. The Decimator is now going to be canon.
I'm cool with that.
And I'm cool with it too, but we had this discussion before where we were talking about when, with the multiple factions coming out and where X-Men could go in 2, 3, 5 years, maybe they would just literally phase ships out of the game that just are no longer part of the Disney canon, and the Decimator was definitely one of them. Yeah, but lo and behold,
I would have put good money on the shuttle coming out for the Decimator.
Yes, and that was my next point.
If you'd have given me odds, you could have taken my money. Like, unlucky Vegas. You've missed a trick because I would have been putting the house on that shit.
Yep. And then there we go. We're not going to get the shuttle first. We're going to get the Decimator, a ship that wasn't even in a movie. Not that I'm complaining. It was one of my favorite ships. I flew it quite a bit, so I'm happy to see it in. And it does kind of kick open that door a little bit for some of those ships that might not necessarily be canon in the Disney universe of making it into X-Wing.
I do have some good points I want to make on this ship. I'm going to save that for in focus.
Okay. All right. And finally, Chad, would you like to make the announcement?
Chris, guess who we're getting?
You're cutting out. Chad. It's breaking up.
We should get little Annie into the war
Oh.
At pilot skill 4, no less. An 8-year-old at pilot skill 4.
Initiative.
Just keep rolling. It's okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's initiative. I keep screwing that up. I'm still stuck in 8. But yeah, Anakin Skywalker, pilot skill 4, in the non-percent. We have been making this joke since they announced that Clone Wars was going to be a thing. I can't believe it's actually going to happen.
Well, then they have to have an upgrade card that says push the fucking button and you win the game. Because that's really what it all came down to. He pushed the button and he flew to his ship and he shot a couple shots and the ship blew up and R2 flew the damn thing out of there.
The ship's got full throttle, Sean, so that's kind of like just pushing a button and winning.
Oh my god!
If I could just stack focus evade, fire torpedoes, and have Duke, that would be awesome. Thanks. Do you see there's some torpedoes in this? Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it does. It's crazy to me that Anakin Skywalker is going to be Initiative 4 at 8. In the game, but I guess he was one of the best pilots in Naboo that day. Yeah. Just saying.
He was really the only pilot.
If you watch the movie, you're like, hey, who did that? He did everything. He took everything out. Took the command ship out all by himself, 8 years old.
First Initiative time in a starship.
First time ever.
This is
and all he did was push a damn button.
He just pod raced his way through it. It's okay, but
yeah, if there's not a force power called This Is Pod Racing that allows free barrel rolls, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Okay. If the flavor text on this card is "Are you an angel?" I'm out of X-Wing. I'm just fucking done, man.
So will we get a new version of R2-D2 in this?
And I was gonna bring that up.
So there isn't one in the spread. So I don't. There's Daredevil, some other stuff. Can't make out. We do spoil a card, which is R2C4, which is unironically cheating. While you perform an attack, you may spend 1 evade token to change 1 eyeball to a hit result. If only I got those evades for free. Oh, good. Thanks, man. Cheers, FFG. I wish my evade could be a calculate token. Not only have they released the ship, they've made it good.
Which means you're going to see them all over the place.
Yeah, but it's going to be a 200-point ship, so nobody's going to be able to fly it. Come on.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what though? I would put money on it that, and of course we don't know cost, but you could probably see 5 or 6 of these on the table.
Yeah, I think the lists will probably be these and Jedi, and you'll not see any of the clone troopers, and I'll be sad.
Because I really wanted to see clone troopers too, but I think I tend to agree.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't actually care, Chad. Screw you. The day someone feels Annie in this instead of Jedi Annie is the day I laugh my fucking tits off at them for making the wrong choice.
And then when it worlds, young Annie beats Jedi Annie.
Okay,
it will have to retire at that point.
Yeah, when they make like fucking little shitbag Annie 4 points. And so we have had a complaint about this, about our negativity about the prequels, and I don't hate the prequels. I hate the fact that they made this little child actor read this terrible dialogue. It's literally just, "Are you an angel? This is pod racing." Just all of those terrible lines. That's the only thing I hate. I have no real problem with it. It's all for the show. It's entertainment value.
Yes, it is.
But,
I'm in the process of watching the prequels with my son now because we were watching something, all lightsaber battles from all Star Wars movies, and he's like, "I don't ever remember seeing Darth Maul fighting a lightsaber battle." I'm like, "What? What
so
do I do?"
The best one is, in my opinion, is actually the one with Qui-Gon, where there's another meme for this one where Annie's running, he tells him to duck, and they fight, and then he jumps backwards onto the Naboo shuttle, and then they fly away. Maul's all like, "Oh, why I order?" But I think that's pretty cool. But the meme for that one is it's Annie diving to a ground with the quote from Qui-Gon of "Annie, get down," and then it cuts to a scene of Obi-Wan thinking, now the boy thinks the low ground has the advantage.
I don't have a huge problem. You know what? It's interesting to me how the prequels have improved with age when I compare them to the most recent particular Star Wars movie that I will fail to mention. I will take talking around in circles for Phantom Menace over blue boob juice Skywalker any day of the week.
So you just really hate The Last Jedi.
I really hate The Last Jedi.
That is the best one yet.
So
I am
you have
sorry.
a problem with finding out how he gets the blue boob juice, but in A New Hope, when they were drinking blue milk, you had no problem with it at that point.
I mean, it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, it comes from somewhere.
I actually do like the prequels more now that I'm I appreciate what he was trying to do.
Yes.
The execution is flawed, but
I
do like them. No, as in...
If you want my honest opinion, it's not the execution got flawed. It's that in the originals, he got really, really lucky with actors like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, who were in Sir Alec Guinness to be able to carry that series all the way through all 3 movies. They were fantastic actors. Whenever he came down to the prequels, he got Hayden Christensen.
Not a bad actor.
Christensen being the center of that, and he just had such wooden acting the whole way through.
I hate this say, but I've read that a lot of that was the direction.
Really?
I've seen Hayden Christensen, and there's some film where it takes his
life. What is it? Life is a House or whatever.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Incredible movie.
He did. What was it? Leapers or something like that, where it was the time jumping one too that he was really good in.
But I hate sand, so screw you all, because George Lucas is good at writing stuff down, not good at direct. I don't know.
Well, I firmly believe that George Lucas made the prequel so that he could show off his universe, because he could do it on the computer rather than having to do it with all practical effects. Because you look at what he did to Star Wars and which I like, but a lot of people don't. with all the with all the additions that he did, with all the you look at Cloud City in Empire, and before it's a very bland place, but then when he did the re-release of it with all of the cool
The windows.
So
the windows,
I will go as far as to say, other than the scene with Han and Jabba, where they shouldn't have done that should have stayed on the editing room floor. The remastered versions are better, but Han shot first.
I'm okay with that.
No, in fact, I'm either as a fan of Han is the only one who shot.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and then Han shot first.
No, I believe I may be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure in the actual original, Greedo doesn't shoot.
He does not,
because he's just dead. Because that's what happens when Han shoots you. You're just dead.
Exactly.
So Han didn't shoot first. Han shot.
Well, the whole meme came from the whole Han shot first game because of the remastered version where they made Greedo shoot. And you're like, wait a minute. Those. I agree. Those are the two scenes. Otherwise, I think that he did a fantastic job in cleaning it up, adding some new stuff. There's some stuff in the background. I'm like, maybe they couldn't have gone that far. But overall, the remastered ones were still pretty good. I still have my originals on VHS in the closet if I ever want to go back to that route.
So
that was the thing I think that really pissed off Star Wars fans, the fact that they couldn't get, when they released it on Blu-ray, they could not get the old original cuts. It's being, look, this is the only way it's going to be. This is now the version. But that's not the version I remember.
Okay, so I have something else for us. I'm going to do a slight throwback. How much did you say that guy paid for some golden X-Wing dice?
What was it, 300, Sean?
I mean,
so there were 600. There was 8 dice, I think, or six dice. There were 6 of each.
It was 3 and 3.
No. There were 6 of each. They gave out a lot of dice, and when they did it, and I know one of the people who did it. I don't know the other person, but Aaron, I think, either got $250 a piece for. So he broke it into 2 sets of 3. Where he got either 300 a piece or 250 a piece. It was literally the moment Aaron was eliminated, the dice were gone. He paid for his whole trip right there.
I mean, personally, guys, I would rather pay like $40 and get a free game. Just buy Star Wars Outer Rim and get your gold X-Wing dice, man.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So the other news that we wanted to cover was that they announced Star Wars Outer Rim. So
the new board.
Yeah, the new board game, which part of the marketing is that it comes with 6 nice gold dice, which are also compatible with Star Wars X-Wing.
Are you shitting me?
No,
you didn't know.
Yeah, but do you get the white?
No, we're literally catching my
just the gold.
Just the gold. I mean, to be honest,
Chad,
I don't need green dice anyway because you're not good enough to shoot at me. So.
Wait, I'm looking it up now. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, there's a new board game coming out.
Star Wars Outer Rim.
So while Ed's looking that up, I noticed that Kris hurried up and pulled away from the Anakin Skywalker thing before I
don't think I hurried up. I think we settled on that for quite a while and delved into talk of random prequels.
I'm going to come out with an upgrade called Wizard.
Unbelievable.
I also didn't get as much hate as I thought I was going to get from you, Kris, for your birthday meme I sent you.
I may have blocked that out of all existence, so it's okay.
I made him a nice little Anakin Skywalker from Episode 1 birthday meme for him.
You did.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay, yeah, Kris, you blew me away with that one. Holy cow. It is kind of a little depressing not seeing the evade dice in there, but unbelievable.
So they'll just make an expansion for a game where you've got to like evade capture.
No, the silver dice.
Yeah, because then you can pay $40 and get a free expansion for a game.
Because now I'm going to go buy that game just for the dice.
Of course you are.
Yeah. That's sad.
It's not
Especially
sad.
when you're buying dice for a game you don't really even play that much anymore.
It's not sad.
You get so one of the things that I've heard joked about was what we should do is when you buy the game, you also get a QR code to add them to your dice app as well. So you can have golden dice in your dice app. Come on,
That
FFG.
would be awesome.
Sell me golden dice app dice. You literally do nothing, and I give you money.
They're going to get my money. I don't. I'm sure I'll try the game, but I'm going to be buying it for the dice. It's not. It's absolutely true. All right, so Chad, one final point on the old Naboo Starfighter. Now, one of the things you had stated was that if they printed one, you would buy it and you would fly it.
Ha Who's
So
the loser now, Chad?
Can we lock you into that?
I will definitely buy one, and I'll have to look into buying a couple other ships so I can fly it in a list.
Yep. I didn't want to go the extra step of locking you into flying Annie in Naboo Starfighter, but
if I'm gonna fly it, I got to do it, with Anakin. I mean,
you got to do it with Anakin. All right, we're on
that's
board.
pretty much a given. I mean, otherwise, it's not really, furthering my, making fun of Kris this whole time about how much it irritates him that I bring it up. And
we need to double down on this though, Chad. If you're gonna do it, you must use the deluxe movement tools and range ruler set also.
Well, so Chad's actually the one person I thought of when I saw that, because Chad will paint those.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
so
will paint those. They will be,
Yeah, that's why I'm actually excited about them. I've been wanting them to do this for years.
Yeah, me too.
I do remember when Phantom Menace first came out, the distinct impression I got was that it didn't feel Star Wars-y, and that was because of the Naboo Starfighter and the Naboo Senator shuttle. That they're very different, and I understand
they're shiny.
now. Yeah, it shows that the old times of the Old Republic was a very different place, and they're very Nubian in their designs and specific to that planet. But as much as it didn't feel right at the time, now that there's a bit of nostalgia involved, I do really like the model, so I will get some. I just probably I will probably run the best ones, which
Anakin
won't be Anakin, because
Which won't be Anakin.
What if he is the best one?
It doesn't matter if he's the best one. He has to be better than him at I6, and I'm shit at the game, so I need to know what the fuck you're doing before I move.
All right, so I think that really dives deep into the news. I'm gonna end up buying Outer Rim for dice, and I was going to buy Jedi anyway, so I'm gonna end up with a couple of those Nubian Starfighters myself. But I think you're right. I think the Jedi are gonna kind of outclass those. And then for the rest of the stuff in the Republic, we will record an in focus here probably on Monday, and kind of cover all those other things. So if you want to look for that, you can go to our Patreon for that. You don't have to be a Patreon. You just need to go there to be able to see that. All right, so the main topic tonight, we've got some listener-submitted lists we're going to kind of go over, and then we'll close out the show after that. So looking forward to looking at this. I have not cheated, so I want to kind of looking forward to see some of these lists, and we'll get into that right after this.
Almost there.
All right, we're back, and in the main topic tonight, we're going to do some lists reviews from you, the fans, who have sent these in. So we've got 3 lists we've picked out that we're going to kind of cover over. We're going to kind of tear them apart, pick them apart, see what we like, see what we don't like, and we'll move on and see if any potential improvements we might make on those lists. So, Kris, your first list, please.
Okay, so the first one is from Ian Courtney. He says, "Hi, I have a number of conundrums for tweaking my squad for a UK System Open. So apparently he thinks we're still the home for competitive X-Wing. Bad news, Ian. All of the good people left us. So we'll do our best." No, we'll be okay.
We'll be okay. We'll make it through.
I've been running a variety of Duchess and mini swarms, and I've been considering both the 4th ship in a mini swarm and upgrades on Duchess. Hurl, Iden, and Gideon are nailed down. I'm floating between Wampa with the swarm tactics on Hurl, Cierne with marksmanship, or Maul Mithril. If no swarm tactics, everyone gets crack shot. With Duchess, I have 5th Brother stapled on for extended. I've run shield or hull upgrade or Duke on top of this. I'm contemplating seismic charge instead, as it might be really beneficial if I can leverage it. So the squad is that he's currently running: Duchess with seismic charge and 5th Brother at 54 points, Hell Runner with crack, Iden Versio with crack, Gideon Hask with crack, and then Maul and Mithril with crack shot.
It's the old Ace mini swarm build. I like it.
Yeah.
In principle.
Personally, I've got a couple of things I would probably tweak right off the bat. I'm not a huge fan of seismics on Duchess here. I would
that was the one thing that kind of stuck out like a sore thumb on that.
Like Duchess can drop it and get away from the with the flap and with your aileron.
Yeah, with the adaptive ailerons. Yeah.
She can reposition pretty well, but I'd much rather have a talent on there. If you're going that deep into crack, I would rather have an extra crack shot on there. I've been running that quite a lot. I also feel like Ruthless could be worth if you're leveraging your mini swarm correctly, but I don't quote me on that one. So dropping seismic for crack gives you 2 points back, and then I kind of agree that Mauler is the weaker link in that swarm.
Yeah.
It's initiative 5, which is good. I mean, you're running 2 initiative 4 TIE fighters and 2 initiative 5s and the initiative 5 in Duchess.
And all of the other TIE fighters really help each other out. Howrunner's allowing rerolls for everyone in the swarm. Iden's there to help protect How, and then Gideon's helping you to reroll your defenses. So, like, I like the concepts here. I really do.
Yeah. I'd be more tempted to switch in Del Mico and go the Quasi-Inferno mini. You can fit crack on that as well.
That's the one I was thinking of, not Gideon. Del Mico's the one I was thinking of.
Gideon's already in there, which is if you've damaged them, you get an extra attack die. And then Del is, if they're damaged, all friendly ships within range 0 to 2 get to reroll 1 defense die. So you're getting a little bit of survivability into your mini swarm, and that bumps you to a 4-point bid. So, I mean, you can put crack and have your seismics back if you like, if you feel you don't need the bid. But I would say that the only reason I went to a 9-point bid in my Vader list was for Duchess. Vader doesn't need the bid, but Duchess benefits from it so much with the double reposition. If she's moving last, she's a lot more powerful. So I'd be tempted to go that route personally of trying to get that. But 4 points probably isn't enough to guarantee you it. So I would play test it with the seismic and without the seismic and see if you prefer the 4-point bid or the seismic charge. That's my thoughts on it, because I've been playing a lot of Duchess recently, so I don't know.
I like the inclusion of Fifth Brother on her too. It does give her a little bit more punch. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
All I've been saying is like, when Fifth Brother in hyperspace when? Because I swear I would like a Duchess with Fifth Brother. I just want it so bad.
Yeah.
I just give me soft mods. I like cheating.
Well, and that's the upside to having him on there too. It's like, even if she's not using it to get the crit, it's an additional evade. Like if you roll badly, like just having that force token on the
so
ship.
you can obviously not. Well, you could do it in this build. You could put Duke instead of Crackshot on her. So if you want to try that takes it back up to 200 exactly. You've now got Duke and Fifth Brother, so you take the evade. You've got a soft mod anyway. So if you're using it defensively, you can have quasi-focus evade. You're only rolling 2 green dice, so it being a calculate token instead of a focus token isn't the huge, unless you roll double blank, you're still getting 2 evades. You can have 1 eyeball and 1 blank. And it still has the offensive output of if you're not getting shot back, you can go full on triggering your Duke and having some mod for your shot, which is going to turn into a crit.
Yeah, but it does take that up to 200 with no bid for Duchess.
But like I said, if you're going
There's
to
a trade.
A 4-point bid, if it's not going to be enough.
If it's not going to be enough, then you might as well just go full 200.
I don't want to go into this from this main topic. It's definitely something I need to put more work into as a topic. But I did get access from Travis Johnson at the Carolina Crates do all of the data they've been gathering to really deep into all of that stuff. I wanted to do some research into initiative bids and like at what levels people are coming in and what's the successful levels and stuff like that. And the quick summary from the very limited data we currently have, up to and including Phoenix, was no bid or a big bid is where it's at.
Yeah,
but,
it's one or the other.
Yeah, and by big, I'm talking above 10 points, like 10 points or more.
Wow.
Yeah, a 5-point bid, the win rate, like the rate of making the cut isn't the compared to not like going 200 points. I can't. Like I say, I've not done enough research to talk confidently on the matter, but that's where I'm currently sitting. Is if you're only going to bid 4, you might as well put Duke on her and not bid. So I don't know, but that's where I would be looking, Ian. It's.
How do you feel about the mini swarm as a whole? Because I got to tell you, that's where I started with second edition, and obviously, I think I've proven to myself that I'm just a shitty pilot. So I don't know how much my opinion counts on this one. He has all the right pieces, as far as I'm concerned. With Howrunner, with Delmico, if you decide to do that instead of Maul or Mithril, having Iden there, that's really the right way to run the swarm. But they still just die so damned easy.
But I would be more tempted I would rather have Del in the. So the only other option would be Cyan Manara, which is the old Wampa ability. If you roll a crit, you can deal a damage under the shields. If you go that route, I would drop Gideon for Del and make it a defensive blob. If you're trying to marksmanship a crit onto someone, so the damage that when they shoot you back, you're all getting rerolls. And you're trying to leverage survivability on that mini swarm so that you can get Duchess into the end game. If you're not going to do that, I feel like Del, Gideon, Iden, and Harold is probably the better way to go. I'm a huge fan of Wampa, but I don't know that it fits in with the rest of the playstyle. Yeah, I think it becomes the obvious target, which is fine. That's Wampa being Wampa, but I prefer this list to any of the other ones you suggested. So
yeah, no, I agree. I like the idea of the Ace mini swarm archetype itself. I think this is a good representation of
it. Dad, you've flown some silence of some strikers. Have you had Duchess yet?
I have not really flown Duchess because
you love those 4 attack dice. Yeah,
I do enjoy Pure Sabak, yes, but I mean the whole thing of you can choose to turn it on or off. I mean, it's okay. I mean, to me,
it's not mostly paying for the initiative. Really,
it's not really your style, is it? I think I love it so much because I definitely like just being able to be slippery and be a dick to people and not get shot. I just fucking love it.
Right.
She is cheaper than
I get why people play her, but I mean it's just not my play style.
No. Like the wrecking ball, like the way Chad's list work is just it's a brawling list. It's really good at doing that. I do, then that's why I've got Pure Sabak in my list, because I want something to put the fear of God in you to make you shoot that, so that Vader and Duchess make it to the end game. Because you're shooting Wampa, because you don't want me to have that extra shot, and you probably inadvertently, accidentally put damage on Wampa, which makes you want to shoot Wampa more. And I'm like, yeah, keep doing that. Earn your 30 points.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, so I've put damage on Wampa, I've put damage on Pure Sabak, so I wanted to turn off his ability. So I might as well finish those off, and I'm like, yeah, keep doing it. Keep shooting my bait. I definitely don't rely on Vader and Duchess making the end game to win. That's not the only way. Like, if you kill these 2 ships and leave the other crappy ones, I don't lose, honest. But anyway, that's just making it all about me again. Oh, yeah. Sean, a few thoughts on mini swarms?
Well, mini swarms are great. I'm not a swarm flyer, so I don't have a lot of comments on the list other than I hate playing against mini swarms, but hey, if people can do it, I've seen many people have great success with it.
Yeah. I think the main thing for me is Gideon and Dell pair together really well because they both have the same trigger for their ability. If you're damaged, Gideon gets better, and the rest of my swarm gets better because of Dell. They both have the same. You're trying to achieve the same thing to activate them both. Whereas with Mauler, you're paying more points, and that has a different activation condition for his ability, which is get into range 1. So you're forcing yourself to leverage those extra points. You're committing to rushing someone to get to range 1.
And you're committing all 4 ships.
Yeah, because you're not going to break up the mini swarm. So
right, exactly.
I think this one's more versatile. There is a follow-on to this one. I probably should have done this one last. Okay, so he does point out that he's really considering seismic to go against mining ties, but he's not sure. So yeah, that is a good point, Ian. Mining ties are annoying, as Ed found out.
Oh boy, are they.
Like I said, I feel like you can play around with Duchess there. You've got this option for Duke with this version, or you can take Crack and a Seismic. So definitely play test, put it on the table, get reps. That's the best advice I can give. But try it out, please, with Dell and Gideon. I think you'll like it. There's a PS. I've been enjoying the Reborn podcast. Thanks for taking the time to make it. We're enjoying it too. I would like to speak for all of us. And then there's a PPS, which is all for me, because it's all about me.
Always. Do you know who you are?
I do. Will Sean Edwards stay loyal to his contract, become a Wigan coach for 2020, or could there be a clause that sees him as the England Rugby Union head coach? So I'm going to be honest, Ian.
This has to be you because I have no idea what any.
So this is all about rugby league. It's not even about like normal egg chasing. This is like proper rugby, which is only played in the northwest of England, like Catalonia in Spain, and like there's one team in London. It's like all of the teams are like Northern England. It's like American football, a crappy tiny sport that no one else in the world cares about.
Oh,
yeah. There you go, Ian. I hope you appreciate what I just did there.
Shots fired.
I think Sean Edwards will be Wigan coach in 2020. Whether there's a clause or not, I think he'll be Wigan coach in 2020. The other questions, will London Broncos stay up? Probably because I don't like them, and that's normally what happens. Leeds to flirt with relegation. So I used to do a lot of work in Headingley, I think that's Leeds ground, which it was a really nice stadium. It had like the cricket ground and stuff in. So I used to work on burger vans at the events. So I always have a soft spot for Leeds, even though they are the wrong side of the Pennines. So there's a big local rivalry. Like Yorkshire born, Yorkshire bred, strong in arm, thick in head. Not like us Lancashire men. It's not like it goes all the way back to the War of the Roses or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Which was mostly fought in Wales. It's like irrelevant. Yeah, so I would hope that they would return to their former glories rather than flirt with relegation. And as a Wigan fan, I hope that Saints choke in the semis again. And he's thinking yes to all of them. So there we go. Thanks.
Oh.
Thanks for making me the star again with this last PPS. This
and that's Kris on sports.
Yeah. We have a lack of focus on many different topics.
Sports.
That we do. It's interesting to me because I remember one of the things I think is really, really funny whenever the folks from the Pittsburgh area travel. It's always interesting because, like, well, if it's a Steelers Sunday, for example, they'll all show up in Steelers jerseys, and people think it's weird that we're nerds and we're sports fans, and that's just Pittsburgh. That's just how we are. So I completely embrace it. Absolutely.
Although, if you want to have lots and lots of fun on a Steelers Sunday during a tournament, if Ryan Fleming is there, give him updates as to what the score is.
He records the game, so he doesn't want to know, doesn't want to hear. All right, Chad, you've got the next list. What faction?
Yeah. Well, it's a Rebel list sent to us by Patrick Mayer.
I'd say Meyer, but
Meyer?
I would probably be wrong. But that's what I would say, and I just embrace being wrong.
Oh, we're wrong. Sorry. So basically, this is a Rebel list. It's got Han Solo with Trick Shot, Lando, Rigged Cargo Chute, and R2-D2 at 98 points.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you to repeat that because I'm going to rebuild the list as we're looking at it. So go Trick Shot, Han with Trick Shot, continue.
Rigged Cargo Chute.
Okay.
Lando.
Of course.
And R2-D2.
Okay.
Saw Gerrera.
I like the cut of this guy's jib. Large ships. I like this.
Mediums.
Well, all right. So it's all right. Yeah, it's a medium.
Yeah. That's okay. He's still saying pilot skills, so.
True. Touche.
Are you ready, Ed?
Yeah. I've built it already, so I'm.
Yeah. Ed, are you ready for the upgrades?
You have the list. I don't. Why can't I find the U-wing?
There
it is. Okay, sorry. Sorry, totally on my fault. I totally take the blame on that one. Saw Gerrera. Got it.
Tactical officer.
Ooh, I like that.
And pivot wing.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's 54 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then the partisan renegade, which is also U-wing.
Why won't this let me add another ship?
I don't know.
Weird.
And we're waiting on Ed.
Okay, so I've built it all, Chad. So just read it all.
Okay,
just read it off. I don't know.
Tactical
let me add another
officer,
ship.
the pivot wing, and Leia on that one, and that comes in at 47 points.
I love any ship that adds Leia to it.
Oh, this is annoying for me because I used to own 3 U-wings and I sold 2 of them, and I now want to buy a U-wing back.
That'll teach you.
You said there was a partisan renegade.
Yeah.
With Leia, and what else?
Tactical officer.
And the title. And the config, sorry.
And the pivot wing.
So, Sean, do you want to go first on this one? Any thoughts before I wax lyrical? Because this one
go ahead.
Makes me a bit hard. So...
I love this.
This is really interesting, actually. I've been struggling to build a rebel list. We were chatting about this off air, I think. That I've been struggling to build a rebel list. I really like this. So you've got double coordinates, both white, because you've taken tactical officer, which is fine. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I like about the U-wings is they're still 3 dice primaries. Leia lets you leverage the stop really well. You can stop and pivot 2 turns in a row. It's really good. And then we come to a Han build, 98 points, so not overly expensive, but you're leveraging everything that is good about Han. You've got Trick Shot in there because you want to be circling those rocks, so you're going to trigger it more often than not. Han letting you reroll a Lando dice, strong. Han letting you reroll R2, so you get to laugh at your opponent. So R2 can flip a damage card, can't he? Yeah. Yes, he can. Just like Skaven weaponry can blow up in your face. Yes, it can. It never fucking does. So R2 only triggers off a hit, so it's 3 sides of your D8. And Han can reroll it. So, good odds. And, if Ian was playing against this and, took his seismic charge, was like, yeah, I'm going to show Han. I'm going to blow up those rocks. Han's brought his own. It's like, okay, I'm just going to drop this Rigged Cargo Chute because you outplayed me. You forced me away from these rocks. I'll just deliver my own. Thanks, though.
I like everything about this list. This is very well tuned.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I'd have any... this is really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. The problems you have is that U-Wings die. U-Wings will go down, especially if you use these in the way I think he's planning on using them, which would be you're going to coordinate Lando.
Yes.
As your first act, like the Partisan
Coordinate
Renegade.
Han, you mean?
Well, no, you coordinate Han to Lando.
Yes.
So that's one action down, which means you've got no action for your U-Wing. Then you coordinate target lock. Then you can rig cargo shoot yourself. Or rotate your arc, depending on... Because obviously Han's moving at initiative 6, so he might need his action to rotate his arc.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the U-Wings start going down, the efficiency level on Han goes down with it because of the coordinates. Saw is pretty strong in... while a damage friendly ship at range 0 to 3 performs an attack, it may reroll one attack die. So that's
to help Han.
That stacks with Han, because Han's reroll doesn't count as a reroll. So he can reroll all of his attack dice and then reroll another one anyway. So he doesn't necessarily need the target lock. And it also buffs, if you focus the U-Wings down first, it can trigger on them as well, making them more offensive. Yeah.
It seems like one too many support ships now that you've talked about it like that.
The thing is, you can play the U-Wings aggressively so they're not support ships, but I don't think you lose anything by doing it. All I would say is, again, from the way I've put it into Squad Builder, I don't think I've missed anything, but you've got 1 point left, which I would spend on Crack Shot on Saw. I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah,
for reasons that we discussed in the previous
a 1 point
list.
bid isn't a bid, so take Crack Shot. Yeah, that's what I would do, is I'd put Crack Shot on Saw. That would be literally the only change I would make. Is I don't feel like there's a need. If you don't need the bid with Han. Being able to boost out of arc is really, really strong on a large base ship, but you don't need it. I don't know. That would be the only thing I would change. This is all. There's no note attached to this one, was there, Chad? It was just straight up sent as a list.
It was, just the list that got sent with it.
Yeah. So we don't know what your local meta is like. If a 1 point bid is like a good enough bid 80% of the time, yeah, take that bid. But if I was playing this list in Calgary, I wouldn't do a 1 point bid. I'd just spend a point on Crack Shot on Saw, because people will joust you because they're bad at the game. So you get to automatically Crack Shot someone because they lined up opposite you and you move forward and they move forward. So getting to the bullseye trigger once is not difficult, even on a medium base.
I personally love the idea of two U-Wings just stopping, coordinating, and then just have Han circling around the ship 2 turns in a row.
Yeah.
I think that is that's amazing. I like that.
I do like this list a lot. I might save it and say it was mine all along. Yeah, I'm going to edit this part of the show, man. Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
Nope, never saw it.
Sorry, Patrick. I claim this list as my own.
Yeah,
I've got to buy a U-Wing. Oh, man.
And again, I think at this point, I think we're just getting like nitpicky potentially. Like that's the best we can come up with as far as any criticism. This is a very well-refined list.
The way the list should work is obvious straight away. Like, say you Lando first, the first thing that happens is Lando. Because depending on what Lando rolls, you might be able to do something else entirely. With Saw's coordinate, it might not need to go on to Han. If the Partisan Renegade is being threatened, you can coordinate off Saw onto a Partisan to give him some defense. But that's why you activate Lando as the first part of the action. I'd always be looking to drop the cargo shoot as Han's action. I don't think I'd ever want to coordinate that, because there is the caveat of if they also have I6 ships, you can screw them over by dropping that early, so that they have to then fly through it and don't get actions and things, because it is a debris cloud. So that is the caveat of what your opponent's running. But I think that's a really strong squad. Maybe that's a problem. Because I sold my U-Wings, I was only looking at one U-Wing in a list, and this seems pretty strong.
Now you need to go buy another one.
That'll teach you.
That'll teach you.
All
right, and the final list. Which faction are we looking at?
The final list. Oh, I need to go back to the inbox. People emailed us and everything. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Peter, who is a Patreon, sent us in a Scum list. Immortal Wombat. So it is a Scum hyperspace list. And it is a bounty hunter. This is one for Sean. It's a bounty hunter in the fire spray.
Naked?
With nothing. And
Okay.
then it is a bounty hunter in the fire spray with nothing. Like I said, this is a list for Sean to talk about. Then we have the customized YT 1300, which has Han Solo, Trick Shot, Rigged Cargo Chute, and Veteran Turret Gunner. That is the list. It comes in at 200 points. So
Rigged Cargo Chute. And what was the talent on that again? It was
Trick Shot.
Oh, okay. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, Sean, you were playing around with the triple bounty hunters. How do you feel about adding in the I6 Han Solo? For it gives you lose the reinforce, you gain a mobile arc rather than a fixed front and back. You gain an extra hit point overall. It's an extra 2 hull, but you lose 1 shield. And you lose, unless your opponent's stressed, you do lose an attack die.
I like the fact that he's adding Rigged Cargo Chute for Han's ability. So now you have a 7th obstacle on the field. You know, if I could fit in this list, if you could fit one on one of the bounty hunters, it'd be even better. But
well, and then he adds Trick Shot on top of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this type of list is that it's giving you a lot of options where most lists don't, and it's giving you a lot of options. You know, at what 31 hit points.
Yeah,
and that's the thing you're looking at in an hour and 15-minute game. You know, you have I hate to say it, fire sprays can survive a lot. You know, you can play the joust through game, back shoot them, turn game if you really wanted to, and potentially live. Now, not if you fly it into the corner and against 3 ships, but bounty hunters, to me, they're pretty durable with the new medium base. I think it makes them slicker and more effective. I like this list. I think that it's not a list that's worried about super synergy. As far as everything, you could take a bounty hunter, fly it off if you wanted to, and let it do its own thing. Han can do his own thing if need be. It's got a lot of potential. I'm not a huge fan. The one thing about me is I'm not a huge fan, of the customized YT 1300 because of the loss of the
red die.
The red die. It still only has the one evade or one green die. So you've to me, this ship in a lot of ways feels like the old Outer Rim Smuggler. It's the little brother to the YT 1300. Still has some issues, but I like the fact that you're putting a 7th obstacle out there. That's kind of cool. I don't know if this would be a top tier winning overall list, but I'll tell you, it's
super fun to fly.
Exactly.
Oh, it'd have to be.
It'd be fun to fly, and the bounty hunters are not bad ships. Bounty hunters, I'll be honest with you, the way that I view bounty hunters right now is they're better B-Wings. They have a little bit more capability than the old B-Wing in 1.0, which I love B-Wings to death. A little more durability, a little bit more defensive ability. being able to shoot, front and back is really good. I would say that this is a list I would try. I'm not like I said, a fan of the YT1300, but he's given himself some options, which is pretty darn cool. And you know, I may make this one of my lists. This might be my Scum list coming up in our little five team competition here.
All right, so
sorry,
well,
I just
go
like
ahead,
to make
Kris.
sure I'm not missing anything here.
Well, because the first thing I'm looking at while you're looking at that is I'm looking at the 2-point bid. So of course I'm like, well, if I've got a 2-point bid,
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right. Something to do.
yeah, you go first with your. I'm assuming you're about to suggest a change. So
well, I was going to suggest a couple of changes. So the first thing I was thinking,
I
of
want to see
course,
if you've got the same things as me, because I've done a couple of cheeky clicks on this list that I've changed, and I think once I started thinking about the play style of it and how I would run it, a couple of things jumped out at me.
Okay, so the first thing that jumped out to me was Jamming Bean because it's free. I like
it's not
the idea.
hyperspace legal.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so I'll pull those off. So we are into hyperspace.
Well, it's submitted as a hyperspace. Oh, there's so much I would change. I would keep the 3 chassis, but there's so many things you can do differently in extended. But that sounds like extended problems, so I'd much rather keep it to a hyperspace.
Okay, so since that's one thing I will give yet another squad builder. I guess I don't have an option, or I'm not looking at it to be able to make it hyperspace or non-hyperspace.
That's why I love the app, man. The app does still have problems when I'm using it on my phone, but as a website, I just enjoy it.
So the first crew that jumped out to me was Visago, but I'm not sure if that's hyperspace or not.
No. So I'll do mine, seeing as you're just making
yeah, because I'm struggling to. What isn't legal.
Ignoring the 2-point bid, the way I was thinking about using this, I would want the arcs to the side for Han, because it gives you a wider arc and you can leverage trick shot and Han's ability more. Which kind of means that I want to be circling on the outside of people whilst I'm throwing the 2 bounty hunters at you. So that then led me to think, do I really need veteran turret gunner? Because I can only double tap out the other arc. So 6 points that might not be, because I'm going to double check the wording, make sure I'm not lying to everyone. After you perform a primary attack, you may perform a bonus arc attack using an arc you did not already attack from this rank. Yeah. So
they're most likely going to be on your left or right side at all times.
And that's just given the playstyle I would have. If you're going to line this up and joust people with it, you might be able to leverage that a little bit more. So it's definitely down to playstyle. But I'd be looking at throwing the 2 bounty hunters at you as quick as I can. Probably just reinforcing them and being a big meat shield while Han circles around, tries to suck you into chasing him, so that you can then just start taking target box with the bounty hunters. So by dropping veteran turret gunner, it opened up a couple of points. And I was like, well, I kind of liked having them all sitting around the 66 points, so I wasn't going to change too much. But I thought about doing Kira on Han straight away, because they synergize really well, because I can now land on a rock, which automatically is going to trigger my trick shot if I'm firing off it at you.
Yep.
Because by the FAQ, if Han has got Kira on it and I just lock you, if I lock the rock, oh well, I just get to pick when this happens. Thanks, FFG. So that's a really strong interaction for 2 points, which left me with 4 points. And then I was like, well, if I've got Kira and we're messing around with rocks, why not just go all in on this? So I went Boba Fett on Han as well, because then you can just put him wherever you like. So setup, you start in reserve. At the end of setup, place yourself at range 0 of an obstacle and beyond range 3 of an enemy ship. So you can start off on one of your rocks, and then you're definitely, given your angles of where you put your arc and what maneuver you're going to dial in, you can deploy yourself at range 0 of it so that you can shoot turn 1 obstructed.
Very nice.
Then I thought, look, we're messing with rocks here, guys, so why wouldn't you take Tobias as well? because you've got crew slots empty on those bounty hunters. So, after placing forces, you may choose one obstacle in the play area. If you do, place it anywhere in the play area beyond range 2 of any board edge or ship and beyond range 1 of any other obstacle.
Basically, any other legal placing.
Okay. So this is 2 setup abilities. So Tobias's isn't specified when in setup, it's after you place forces. And then so during the place forces step, you place Han in reserve because he's got Boba Fett on him. So Han is placed in a reserve within the setup phase. Okay?
Correct.
After you've placed forces, you can move a rock. Then you can put Boba Fett and Han on that rock that you moved. And
then shoot them around.
Yeah. So I can move my rock that I want Han to go on. And I was like, I think that's better than a 2-point. Like, Tobias is just gravy, you don't need him. But
it's just funny.
Yeah. So I have enough to run this. So I might try this as well. Why not?
Yeah. For me, I looked at part of what you did, but I also looked at just taking the gunner off and putting Rick Cargo shoots on the 2 bounty hunters.
But yeah, that's pretty strong as well, actually.
Because you just force the middle now, and you let Han NASCAR around and let the bounty hunters do the business.
Yeah. Rick Cargo. Yeah. So hard, I sort of want Kira on Han, though.
Oh yeah, Kira's awesome.
I mean, you could. Would you rather have Rick Cargo on...
I would rather have Han shooting more with 3 dice than worrying about
4 dice. Remember, he's got
rocks.
trick shot. He's got trick shot as well, so It's always 4 dice.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But you get my point here.
No, yeah, I do.
If you're gonna go balls to the walls with the concept of Han. You're not gonna the trick shot Rick Cargo shoot. You're throwing 2 more out. Number one, that's a cluster for a lot of lists. Trying to get through. If you can place them correctly too, even placing them on the outside can make it difficult for a lot of lists out there.
Yeah.
Just because either of maneuverability or the concept of the way that you play these lists today, just adding more chaff in that field makes it better, and then it just makes Han Solo even better.
Yeah. If you find a way, like I said, where you're jousting people and then you are triggering veteran turret gunner. So I don't know, Peter, if you actually played this list review, if we made it to send us to see how it would go and stuff like that. But if you find a way to leverage that veteran turret gunner, I again, 2-point bid. You know your local meta better than I do. So if that's enough to get you moving last on Han or initiative choices, keep it. But definitely I would look at dropping Kira in if you've only got a 2 points and want to keep veteran turret gunner. But outside
that's
of
the
that,
only change you make, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of that, Sean's idea of getting 9 obstacles on the table is interesting, and then I like the idea of just sliding the rocks where I want after I've done stuff, or making surprise, hands over here now.
I can imagine that first turn that you do that. The first time you're setting up, boom, I'm going to move the rock here, and boom, Han's here. And they're all set up to go fly past Han, and Han's immediately behind them. And they've immediately got problems.
Yeah. The problem you run into doing that is dials haven't been set yet. So they just turn onto Han, and then you've got to... You commit Han to a running game then. So stuff like Rig Cargo Shoot and you're pointing backwards becomes really good.
And the other side of it too is your fire sprays are going to be out of it for a turn to 2 turns.
Yeah, but they've got a 4 straight. They can barrel down in.
They've got a 4 straight and an inherent boost.
But you're going to have to make sure that they do what you want. What you want them to do, which becomes the problem here. The big problem that you end up with in this is that if you overplay your hand with Han's dead. It's just going to happen, and And he is, no matter what, the hammer on the field. You know, he's the guy that's going to hopefully put 4 dice into every shot, no matter what range you're at. You're at 4 dice, and if you could somehow get a range 1 obstructed obstructed shot, you have 5 dice you're throwing at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so when you look at the big picture, you have to remember, that's why I like the cargo shoots a little bit better than like, it's just my play style.
Oh,
I like it.
Mine's a massive gimmick. Mine's
a gimmick.
Yeah.
To see the opponent's face after you did that would be worth doing it one time. You know, just to watch a guy or a girl sit there and just freak out because you just did something that they probably didn't even realize could happen in the game. And then they have to react to it. Then, of course, when they do, if they're good players, they're going to knock Han off the board pretty fast.
It's going to be that same reaction that Chad had whenever Kris ran the 2 Epsilon lists, and he's like, but wait, there's 2 ships are in the deployment zone, like beyond the deployment zone. Yeah, no, that's what his ability allows them to do.
Right.
And you're like getting shot on turn 1.
Right.
I'm going to have to read to make sure that's how the interaction works, because I'm sure part of placing forces is placing ships in reserve, because that's how to dock a ship to a ghost, you place it in reserve. But I might be wrong. They might have turned off to some bubble working in that way and just said it doesn't work. I can't remember. I've got a niggling thing at the back of my mind that might say that doesn't work like that. But even so, I can still place myself on a rock and move another one because it's funny.
Because it's amusing.
Yeah.
The one thing I will end with on this is, if you're going to play a list like this, play it to 200 points.
Yeah.
Don't worry. In these types of lists where you may have, like one hammer, and then these lower pilot skill lists or the lower initiative bid ships, you got to remember you're playing lower initiative bid ships. So maximize rather than minimizing, just to try to get 2-point bids, because you're going to play against people who have the higher initiative bid ships. They're going to play with a 5-point, 6-point initiative bid to try to make sure that they have the upper hand on lists like this.
Again, I'm not wanting to go too deep onto my thoughts on the bids and stuff like that, because it's definitely a topic I've been thinking a lot on recently. Bids are exponentially more powerful the more ships benefit from it. It's not like it's like an upgrade that's squad wide. So if you've got 2 initiative 6 ships and you take a 5-point bid, that's worth more than a 5-point bid in this list, where if you've got initiative 1 ships, you want them moving first, and then if you've got initiative 6, you want it moving last. So which one do you want to choose? Do you want your blockers to move before, or do you know what I mean? So you can run into instances if you're flying against an initiative 2 swarm, where if you give them the initiative so that Han can move last, they now block your bounty hunters.
Yep.
So you're not getting your actions on them, they're not going to reinforce, so their survivability goes down. And if you're not going to play the game where you're bidding and it's giving you a maximum benefit all across the entire list, like Sean just summed it up really, really succinctly. Just play to 200.
Yeah, I just think that there's, this list is, in a sense, a form of a gimmick list. But this actually is a list that has a little more traction than your normal gimmick lists. If you put in Han behind, and this is what you have to think about. This is actually my Scum list for our lack of focus stuff. So with the rig cargo shoots. So 3 rig cargo shoots, trick shot on Han. One of the things that I look at with a list like this is that when you put a lot of debris out of the field and you place it correctly, your bounty hunters are also going to sort of be protected by this also. So you're going to be able to reinforce potentially with 3 dice or 4 dice, defense rolls. And that's something you have to think about also. Yeah, you're going to shoot through with bounty hunters, but you're still rolling 3 attack dice. So that's okay if you're going through, because the game is designed for you to hit more so than evade. And I love the Han concept on this, which becomes the gimmick side of this. But if you play this right, to me this is a lot like the old what was it, Janors and the Han.
Yeah.
That's what this list kind of reminds me of a little bit is that where you're going to have to play Han creatively, but the bounty hunters are like Janors, where they're mucking everything up. They're the ones making it difficult.
What do you think, Sean? Just quickly, I had a different. I kept Kira on Han just for the sake of it. It's irrelevant as a change, but rather than like the Boba Fett and the Tobias gimmick, if you want to take it a little bit more seriously, not go so deep down the rabbit hole. 6 points gets you the Lando's Millennium Falcon title. Like, fair enough, you don't have the points to put an escape craft on it, but you're still getting while you perform a primary attack against a stressed ship, roll 1 additional die, just as a form of like control, in the same way that Death Troopers affect how you play against the list. Like, are you going to like if you're playing against a Fenro and he's trying to pull to range 3, like barrel roll into range 3 to get away from your shot, is he then going to stress himself to give you an extra attack die to get the focus? So is he going to choose to stay at range 2, take his focus, and just eat the normal attack? Or does he, you know what I mean? Forcing those harder choices for 6 points on the title?
That's an interesting one. That's actually a good point, is the title, I don't know. I mean, once again, it's play style. I think it will come down to how you play it, is how if the title's going to be effective or not.
Yeah, because it's an extra attack dice if your target is stressed.
Correct.
And like, if that's
so potentially you could roll 6 dice then at this point.
I did a similar like gimmick list like when I think it was really early on in the show when I first got my Falcon. I was trying to get this 6 dice dream shot, and I never pulled it off. But that's because my opponents never stress themselves, which hurts their action economy. Hurts their maneuver choices.
Right. Well, and that's their. If you view the game as a risk and a reward, or your return on your investment, if you're not maximizing maneuvering, if you're not playing Soontir the way Soontir was designed to be played, in 1.0, you kind of screwed yourself. Soontir became, an easily killable ship at range 3 through rocks and everything else because you're not maximizing the effect that Soontir gives you.
Yeah.
And if other people aren't going to stress, then the title becomes worthless. And I get that. Now, it's a control piece. It's like, them knowing Magic that you have a, cancel spell in hand. Think about it, They know that you potentially could, even though it's a land, you're bluffing them because you didn't play the land, you held the land. And it becomes the bluffing game at that point. So now, does the title affect your opponent's play? That is where I look at it, Chris, is that return on that 6-point investment. If you're playing against a guy that will allow that to affect their play, it's even more effective than at the end of the day. But if you're playing against a guy who's good enough to realize, I can still stress, and I may eat another die, but there's so many factors that have to go.
The answer to Lando's Falcon title is mathematically there is always a correct decision.
Correct.
But if you're gonna keep thinking about, you're gonna get someone who does not make the correct decision.
And I agree with you. And in our lack of focus list, I won't put it in there because you guys are aware of it. You will be aware of it. It won't affect your play, I don't think, the way that it would if I sat across somebody who didn't know me at a tournament and I put this down with the title and Kira. Holy crap.
I'll put it in against you 3 because I don't believe you.
And that's the thing. I think, for the style of play that I enjoy, Rick Cargo shoots would be better.
No, I definitely see that, and look, I've left you a nice lane to fly down. Or did I?
Right. And then you trap them, and then bounty hunters are there to clean them up because they can, they're B-Wings. They're better B-Wings now because you got, non-stressable 1 turns on these things. And you can't beat a medium base ship that can shoot front and back, that can turn on a dime and literally change how everything is working. You know, I mean, just that alone right there. I do like the title idea. I really, really, Kira in the title, I think is very powerful. It's more powerful than people will think in the right environment. You know, that's actually a list I will take to a tournament when I start playing in tournaments again. I will actually take the Kira with the title and the 2 bounty hunters.
The thing, just as an aside to this, the thing I really like about Kira is, one, she's only 2 points, so practically free, and 2, you lock the obstacle,
right?
Which again messes with your opponent. So you can measure out all of the obstacles, and then you lock one to your right, and it's like, okay, that means he's going that way because he's going to try and get behind that, and then you just go straight. Whatever, I don't care.
Right. As long as your turret's set correctly, you're good. You know.
But it's another one of those things. So why did you lock that? Why did you lock that specific obstacle? You must be flying over it next turn because you don't want to take the effect of it. No, I locked that one because why wouldn't I? I didn't need to do anything else this turn.
Right. Yeah. No. I agree. It's, you know, there's a lot of mind games you could play with this now. It's kind of interesting, actually.
There you go. I think that was a good main topic. I enjoyed that.
That was an awesome main topic. Thanks to all the people that sent in lists. I think we might do this a couple of times, actually. That really sparked a lot of interesting conversation and made me think about ships and upgrades that I haven't thought about before. So we're going to go ahead and move on to close out the show right after this.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
All right, that is going to do it for episode 18 of Lack of Focus. I do want to thank the guys for joining the show. Of course, thank you for listening. Sean, always good to talk to you, my friend.
Great to be here, guys.
And Chad, always good to talk to you, my friend. You've got some questions, I hear.
Yes. Always a pleasure to be here. You want me to go through my regular stuff first, or you want to do the questions?
Whatever order you want,
stuff first.
It's your segment. You do whatever you want. You do
it's
you.
My
man.
segment. Oh, okay.
This is all about you, Chad.
This is all about you, Chad. You do what you want.
Hey, pimping ain't easy, as they say. So everybody, Lack of Focus is who we are. You can reach us on Facebook, which is where we put out a few hours before we record. Says, hey, give us your questions, all that fun stuff. Send us your list ideas, send us messages, all that jazz. Lack of Focus podcast at gmail.com. If you want to email us some stuff, that's always appreciated.
Which is how we got those lists, by the way, just for the record.
We did get one through Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Of course, YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment, that's always appreciated. Let us know, what you think of the videos. If you're listening to us just in an audio format, we're pretty much everywhere, So if you want to get Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud, wherever you can find us.
iOS.
iOS.
So I did want to point out, Chad asked a good question before we were recording about the YouTube channel and why there's a non-video format on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we should clarify that.
If you're weird, I don't know. I'm not trying to insult you. Thanks for listening. Please don't go away. You can download the audio from YouTube of any YouTube video. So if you don't want to use a podcast app or anything like that, you can get the audio files as an MP3 through YouTube, which is why I let Podbean send a version of the show to Dissect YouTube, which is just the audio version. The exact same one you can download through iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, on Spotify, but you can listen to it that way as well. You can listen to it by streaming it on YouTube, or you can actually download it, and you don't even need YouTube Red to do that. There is just a download function on your computer that you can just download the MP3.
I think I might have gone through Facebook and it just came up. It went to that one first off when I was checking through the Facebook app, Facebook. So, but lastly and not least, of course, if you want to go over to patreon.com/lackofocus, we greatly appreciate any help you can give. Of course, Patreons, we do, some nice little things for them every so often.
We might have something in mind tonight.
Yeah. Oh, what's that you got there, Chris?
We have the Spring 2015 Range Ruler, a nice, sexy red one, a nice red number.
I like that one. That's one of my favorites.
That is a very nice one.
We were going to give that one away. I need to do a quick count of how many I need to randomize it between.
You said that we bumped up by 2 Patreons, so thank you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think we're at a D10. We'll have to eliminate everyone. So do me a favor.
Right,
do me a favor, Ed. Please don't make me send more stuff to Peter. Because he's going to win all of these roll-offs. So, yeah, roll a number between 1 and 10.
I got a 10.
Oh, good, it's not Peter. Peter was number 5 this time. Sorry, Peter, I love you, man, but you keep winning.
You get all the stuff.
So this one is actually a guy who mistakenly Patreon up to Dice Hate instead. So I didn't have the heart to turn his money away and tell me he'd done it wrong. So I'm just looking him up to make sure I don't get the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll sort all that out. That's admin stuff I can do in the background, and then I'll tell you who won. So if Chad wants to carry on reading questions.
Sure.
All right, question time.
I posted this one myself, and I haven't even looked at the answers, so I never cheat.
So this first one here actually has 3 parts to his thing. It's the first one that came up, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's good. I'm happy.
But Suresh Daniel Kumar, I hope I pronounced that right because...
We know Suresh.
What's that?
We know Suresh. We've met him in person. At Worlds. He's from Australia. He's part of that Australia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Alrighty.
Sorry. James double dipping. Thanks. He paid in. He's joined both now. He's one of the new people to sign up. So yeah, James Masters is the winner of this one.
Congratulations!
Awesome. Which we just signed up.
Yeah. So you just signed up for Patreon. Congratulations! Here's your Range Ruler.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. So question number 1. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
He asked, has Ed actually played X-Wing since the last show?
Yes, and if you can go back to the flight deck, I've covered 4 games. I've covered 4 times the amount of X-Wing that I normally play.
So during the show, I may or may not have been chatting with him slightly through Facebook. Because I basically replied back that Chad approves of question number 1. And then he replied, excellent. However, if Ed is going for a legit Guinness World Record of highest ratio of time spent podcasting about X-Wing to play an X-Wing, then I'll support that too.
I'm not going... All right, Suresh, I appreciate it.
Suresh, I have that in the bag. Sorry. I have that. Probably out of any podcaster out there, I have that in the bag.
I appreciate the good humor, my friend. Yes, I did get games in. If we're obviously going to find some way to continue on with the Facebook or the Vassal challenge for the cast itself, I'll be getting more X-Wing in. It's just he'll understand. Trust me, I know some of our craziness of his life. The real life gets crazy sometimes, and getting out and getting to the game store doesn't always happen as often. So now that I have the option to play my buddies on the cast and Vassal, I'll be getting more games in.
All right, part 2, speculation. What's a reasonable points cost for spare parts canisters?
Oh, should we answer this, or should we tell them to listen to the info? Evil.
Well, remember, he does have a third one, so
Okay.
if you want to be evil and just tell him to listen to the info, because you can do that.
Yeah.
All right, now I got to bring that back up to remember what that does.
We'll just answer that, and when we do it in focus, I'll remember the question.
All right, number 3, is Triple Upsilon bad for the game any more than any other mass of generics? If so, then why?
First of all, I want to see another massive generics list that actually does well.
The Drea Swarm in Extended is generally a massive generics plus a couple of names. And we can roll it back into first edition of Quad TLT Triple Jump Master.
Yeah. I don't think. I think the one thing that kind of feels out of place is it's not necessarily the triple upsilons themselves. It is that the ability to be able to put two of them in that far into the player field with how big the bases are and how quickly they can close range on turn one. I think that feels a little against the spirit of the game.
I'll jump in next then. I mean, for me, it's not that the list is unbeatable. It feels bad. It's not fun that like Ed says, the game's predetermined almost of if you know the answers to this question, you win. If you don't, I win. The actual choices you make on the table after that are irrelevant. It's not quite a won or lost in a list building phase, but if you're newer to the game, it can be that kind of feeling. And it's not that it's bad for the game, but it feels bad, which is bad for the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's definitely 100% a negative play experience. And I don't want that in X-Wing. When you get fucked by someone just arc dodging you with an Initiative 6 pilot, do you understand why you're losing? And it's like, if only I'd have dialed this move in, they couldn't have got away. When you deploy your ships and then they go, okay, well, you've used these rocks to try and cover it, but I've got collision detector, so I don't care. I'm going to deploy after you and I'm going to push them in your face, and you are not dodging this opening salvo, so take that ship off. Shall we start playing now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, this goes back to if you're looking at this from a competitive point of view. Yeah, it's a 36-point list to begin with, so that's a difficult time to. You can't lose ships, and you're going to have to half point all those ships. You're just going to have to do it. That's how you're going to beat that list. But at the same time, like Kris said, in the spirit of the game, it's not a fun list. I mean, I watched it the other night, and
and that wasn't even triple up. That was me trying to make it more friendly and more interactive.
Right.
But like it could have been much more oppressive,
and it wasn't very interactive.
No.
When now there are factors in there that kind of made it that. But at the same time, in the thought process of 1.0 to 2.0, if you're playing the game like 1.0, you definitely don't. That list sucks. Yeah. To me, it's just shitty.
What it means is you take the best ship in your squad and delete it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then try to beat them with the rest of your list.
Right.
If your list is specifically, I have one ace that does this and isn't nearly as versatile, I don't know that it can recover from that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where that feels bad feeling comes
take
from.
that Han and 2 U-wing list that we're all really excited about.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a Han and 2 U-wing list, it's a Han and U-wing list.
Yeah.
Because one of those U-wings is dead before we start. Because I'm not going to waste my time shooting Han round 1, because I can't kill him round 1. But I'd probably kill a U-wing, because one of my ships so I'm getting 8 shots, which is enough to kill him. And all of my shots are target focused. Your shots back, I chewing through my reinforced double evade focus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just take your U-wing off, and then we'll start playing. Thanks for that 50-point head start. It's not even just about that. It's very much the other thing I dislike about it is when you start seeing it competitively, the way it wins is the way it's going to win events is by the player pushing the boundaries of sportsmanship to abuse their decision points in the game. Because you'll be lucky to play like 10 rounds against the triple upsilon list. And if you think you can do 36 hit points of damage through reinforce against that in 10 rounds, you're wrong.
Double evaded the whole because
well, only round 1 for a double evade.
That's true.
because there's nothing you can, as a TO, if you call me over and say, I think this guy's slow playing me, it's like, what's happening? Well, it's picking his dials, which is taking like 2 minutes. Well, 2 minutes isn't overly long. He's got choices to make. He can ignore the rock, so he's actually legitimately... It's not like there's only one move that misses the rock. He can decide to try to fly over it, and the choice of if I burn collision detector now or not is an important one. So that's, a genuine decision point. And then each ship's got an action, which is a viable decision point. Oh, one of those actions is coordinate, which gives you a second decision point within your first decision point. So all of your decision points branch, and you can just you can run that clock down so much, and there's nothing I can do about it as a TO.
Yeah.
Because they're legitimate decisions. So, unlucky, just cheat, and it's okay. I can't stop you.
Well, I think this really kind of gets down to the fundamental, like, alpha strike lists have existed in this game for a really, really long time. It is not uncommon to have had lists in the past, in previous editions, or in this edition, before these came out, that swarmed onto the board, picked a ship, and deleted it off the board immediately. Yeah. That is something that has been a part of the game for a really long time. It's the way that this one does this.
Yeah, it just feels bad. I think that's long enough talking about triple ups ones. Yes, they're bad for the game.
Yeah, turn one to have a ship deleted before I move, like, that's ridiculous.
Okay. Even if you don't think they're bad for the game, will you bet me money that after a next points change, you can still run it? That's all you need to do. If you're willing to bet me money that you can still field triple upsilons in the current form after a next points change, that's where you've got to be. If you're that confident, that's a line. If you don't think you'll be able to run it in its current form, that means you don't actually think it's good for the game. So
let me ask.
And I'll take those bets.
If you took reinforce and coordinate off that, would that dampen the issues with the list?
Oh no, I think
the list would be much easier without the coordinates and the reinforce, because the key is that whichever one you're targeting is the one's reinforced, because I've got coordinate on all of my ships.
Correct.
And the reinforce is white. But unfortunately, we saw by the way they changed Dash Rock, rather than errating the card, right, they didn't put out a card text change, they just said it doesn't work. So I don't think they're willing at the moment to change text on a card with an errata, which they would have to do to remove an action because they're printed on the card.
No,
so
I think
I think we're limited to upgrade bar changes and points cost changes.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's right, but if you bump dormants up just a hair, and you bump the base cost of the Starkiller of the
dormants and hyperspace tracking are the problems. Like upsilons are fine. Yeah. Dormant's ability is what's wrong, but if we're not going to change the text of Dormant's ability, I mean, I thought about 2 ways of fixing it. Way one is that I will just remove both text slots from Dormants. So, and they did that with Weebo. They removed Weebo's crew because interaction with 3PO was abusive. So they just took it out. Oh, the other ones still have the crew slot, but Weebo doesn't. Dormants deploying at Initiative 6 is bullshit, so you can't have hyperspace tracking on him because he doesn't have any text slots.
So how about this then? Let's say that Fantasy Flight does something they haven't done in this game, but they've done in other games, where they do a ban list as far, not ship wise, but the ships you can play with him.
Well, so, they kind of have in this game when you look at the U-wing. Like you can't field half of the U-wings because they're not hyperspace legal. And I think it's less of a problem in Extended for triple upsilons, because I think there's more abusive stuff in Extended anyway. Right. So if you make it so that Dormants is not hyperspace legal, I'm more than happy with that. Do what you want in Extended, I don't care. Because I'll be having fun over here in my little hyperspace bubble.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is finding a way to change how that interaction goes just by a simple words, rather than trying to that FAQ is so bad at the end of 1.0. I don't want to see that again. I want them to make logical, rational changes to the game.
And I think they've proven that that's what they're doing so far.
Well, but that has to include, and I hate to say this, but it needs to include the cards themselves being able to change either text or change abilities on cards. It's
not that I don't think that they will never change text, but I think it's now if it's obvious how the ability should actually work, that means it's clear and obvious how it should work. So it must be balanced at a given points level.
But they also, but they've done that though. They've actually done it with other games in the past, with IA and with the Imperial Guards. They changed text. They literally changed
for those. They didn't have an online squad builder that works this way. I think they're going to push the squad builder experiment as far as they can. So I'm not going to commit to saying they'll never do it, but I think, second points change. Put it this way, Sean. I can see them adding 20 points to dormits before they change text on dormits.
And that's what I was going to say, is that pricing dormits out is better. Because, like, as an example, my suggestion when I was playtesting IA, when 4-4 was the problem in IA, my suggestion was very simple. It wasn't changing the text, changing abilities. It was making the officers cost 3 points or 4 points instead of 2 points. Because that's what drove that list completely, was that. If you change it, you could still have a similar list, but it's not a list that's going to game break like that one did. It's the same thing with this. What you're going to end up doing, though, is you're going to, like you said, you're going to either have to make him extended legal only or drive his points up so much that you just can't do it. Or drive up the whole set of points for both the upsilons all the way around.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 more questions to get through, guys. So.
Good man, Joe. Good man.
Good thing we're recording this on a Saturday night.
Yeah, and I just watched Ed check his left wrist to see what time it was, even though he wasn't wearing a watch on that wrist. It looked like.
No, I've got my. That's the hand.
That's on your right hand. I watched you look at your left wrist, though, dude.
Oh yeah, no. Way more information than anyone needs to know. Whenever it gets cold like this, my hands get dry and I get these little.
No.
Yeah,
I thought you were looking for a watch that wasn't there.
No. I'm looking at my hand, going, I need to put lotion on before I go to bed. That's all I'm thinking.
All right, so next up we got Ryan Payne. He says, do you think Biggs has a place in the hyperspace meta? And then he says, other than trench run style lists, do you see any other strong pairings?
Biggs' problem is that he's got pilots like Wedge and Luke to contend with.
I feel like the focus for hyperspace, especially with Rebels, is still proton delivery systems. Yep. I think large base turrets will come in. With that, protecting large base turrets that are going to come in. So a pairing of Biggs and the Y-Wing that adds evade dice and selflessness. All of these things can interact. So in hyperspace, I think there is definitely scope for Biggs to be powerful, because Biggs and selfless are actually stupid good, because taking away agency from your opponents of where they assign damage is strong.
Selflessness is so awesome.
Yeah. I would go as far as to say that there is probably a more broken combination in extended for Biggs, where you can get stupid abuse. Like old First Ship Rebels, it's probably still a thing, but it's going to take work to actually find a new version of it. If you think you can get away of just spitballing ideas, if you can fit Nora adding an evade when she's at range 1, Lolric spending his reinforce to give someone else an evade, Biggs pulling hits or crits, something else with selfless. Like there's definitely the Y-Wing that adds evade dice as well. There's definitely combos there that make it a pain in the ass to shoot at you.
Did you mention selfless on Biggs? Because I was looking at
not on Biggs, because Biggs' ability is basically better selfless. But
yeah, I was just going to ask about it.
Because the problem with new Biggs is that you just shoot Biggs.
Yes.
So if you've now got selfless on something else, Biggs lives longer. And
yes.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think Biggs is still good. No, I don't know exactly what the list is yet, but it's there.
And Biggs, you can do some functional stuff with Biggs, add a shield and R2D2, and Biggs becomes a little bit more like his old self as far as the durability goes. But are you going to waste that many points on a Biggs?
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
All right. This next question is actually a pretty good one. So, Tim Murray says, "Why does everyone pronounce Nien Nub as Neen, N-E-E-N, instead of 9? George Lucas' silly naming conventions that 10 Nub exists. Isn't 9 more logical?"
That is a really good question.
It's Nien, isn't it? Ni-en.
Yeah, it's Nien.
Nien.
Yeah, it's Nien.
And
it's the worst part about it isn't even the first name; it's the damn last name. Because forever I was calling him Nien Num instead of Num. It's George Lucas's writing. My guess is when he was, handwriting this with his barrel pencils, he meant num, ended up none, but and when they did the script, that was what it was translated to. So I like the logic in it. It's actually a very funny question. 9, 10. Well, where's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
I've never drawn that correlation until now. That's actually really funny.
Yeah. I want to know what happened to that family.
Well, we see a younger sibling 11 later on. I don't know. They don't give them names. They just give them numbers. Because you don't name the things you might have to kill someday.
Or eat.
Yeah.
Let's go for food, boy.
So we got Scott Weasel, obviously, is going to throw in some questions here.
Hi, Scott.
With the design of the 2.0 maneuver dials, do you miss the mystery of not knowing the dial until release?
Not even for a second.
Not for a second, but I can't tell you the number of times I flipped a dial over, and I'm trying to start, and I'm still trained into having.
So I think what he's talking about here is when you do the spoiler articles now, the dial is always with the render of the ship.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that because it allows you to play with the ship earlier.
Yeah.
And that's just my personal opinion on it, is that being able to see it made it, or being able to see it now makes it more, more viable in my opinion. You can play with the ship longer.
I feel like it just swaps spots with points though.
So a lot of what used to happen for me was so when we used to do the old show and we'd have points and we used to like you say it's always dial dependent because I couldn't start considering how I would fly a ship until I knew the dial. Now I can figure out how I want to fly that ship.
I just can't build it.
Yeah, I don't know how many I'm going to have.
Yeah,
but you can make
even what you're going to, or what you can put on it in totality.
Yeah, like you can make assumptions now, given what the spread is, and you can compare it within faction and across faction to similar chassis. So I can make a better educated guess on how much it will cost and what I'll be able to put on it than I can, what the dial is going to be for a ship. And it comes back to the conversation we had about Anakin earlier. So I'm 99% sure that I'm going to prefer Anakin in his Jedi Starfighter than young Anakin because it's going to be better. I'm pretty confident saying that. So I would rather have the dial and the points every day of the week.
In the event that he's going the other way, though, I keep doing this myself as I'm turning the dials. In the old dials, the indent used to be on the top, and that's where the maneuver was supposed to go. And now the maneuver has to go to the bottom. So I can't tell you the number of times I have dialed in something at the top just as I'm getting ready to set it. I'm going, oh, crap, it's on the wrong side, and then have to go back around.
Yeah, no, that's not what he meant at all.
No.
I don't think it is anyway.
Nope. All right, this last question, I feel this one should be answered by Kris, of all people. So, we got Rigoberto R. Piers asked the question, who are you people? Kris?
Do you know who I am? I mean, yeah.
Are we? We used to be E-list internet celebrities. Have we dropped down at least? Are we on the G?
Oh,
I still remember having to explain to my wife that, to a very, very small percentage of people that actually someone people listen to, and I don't quite know why. But I did hover over his name, and he is friends with Chris Allen and Luke Carrington. So I feel like he knows full well.
So it sounds like a troll. Someone's trolling us. I can't say the strangest thing that I have had in doing this and other stuff with X-Wing is people who come up to me and want me to sign cards.
Yeah.
That is the oddest, because it's not in my mindset to do that. I was in Kansas City and some guy had me sign, I think it was like a Han Solo or something, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Sure.
why do you want me to do this? And I love the show, it's great, blah, 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 With this show, what I'm hoping with this show is that we're like X list on this,
I like the idea of us having more of a rapport for the listeners on this show, in that we're not trying to only talk to people who want to win worlds anymore.
Right.
But we are the X-Wing podcast for people who just want to play X-Wing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
That's like, okay.
Go ahead, Chad.
Oh, I was gonna say, like how you were saying about people wanting to sign, you sign a card and all that. It's like, yeah, I would go to tournaments and I get people to, getting pictures with me and all that. The only thing that I've ever been asked when it comes to a card is I was at, I think, one of the Worlds, and the guy who goes by the name Captain Typo was there, and he had a damage deck with him, and he was like asking certain people to add whatever you want to a damage card and put your name on there. He was getting like this damage deck just made up as like kind of a fun thing and all that.
Yeah.
So I actually, made up a slight change in one of the cards for him. It was the one where if you roll a die and if you roll a hit, you took more damage and all that. So I added the flavor text of if you roll a focus, your opponent can spend a focus to change that to a hit.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah. But that's the only ever card I've ever been. But like I said, I mean, people would come up and want to get their pictures with me. I went to Worlds, I was hanging out with all kinds of people from Australia, from, just Europe. I mean, everywhere. The first Nova I went to,
Ziggy from Iceland. We had our conversation. All right, this is actually, I feel like you guys are just constantly in my head. This is a conversation we had while we were playing on Vassal about the guys from the Outer Rim Smugglers YouTube channel. And I couldn't remember the guy's name. For whatever reason, it popped into my head today, just now, Ziggy from Iceland. I remember him now.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we were, with the old show, I know we were known all over the place. The very first Nova I went to, I'm standing in line next to a guy from Kuwait who knew who I was and who knew where my son was.
Bashari, shout out to you, my brother.
Bashari, yes.
Yeah.
Bashari.
He's an awesome guy, too.
Who's on his way to Worlds again because he won Kuwait's Nationals.
Of course he did. Why not?
Of course he did, because he's an awesome X-Wing player. Bashari's the man.
He's a very
Bashari is just an awesome guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Great human being. He's a great human being.
The cool part with meeting him is he and I sat for 2 hours and didn't talk a lick of X-Wing.
He won his Kuwaiti Nationals. He's got his Worlds invite.
Yeah.
We sat for 2 hours and talked Game of Thrones. We didn't talk a lick of X-Wing.
Yeah. Well, after that Nova, a lot of us were calling him the Beast from the Middle East.
Because he is.
He is.
He's no joke. One of the best players I've ever seen play.
And you know what's crazy is he's probably one of the most humble players you'll meet too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
For a guy who's had as much success in multiple games too, not just X-Wing. I think he was really good in Netrunner and a couple other games too.
Netrunner in the Game of Thrones game, yeah.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but yeah, he is a great guy. He is awesome.
Wish me a happy birthday.
Did he send you an Anakin meme?
No. That's why I like him more. I mean, if the time, I'm not gonna lie, Chad, if those time zones overlap that little bit better, Ed had being, his partner in crime from Kuwait.
Wow. I see. It was Chris's idea not to read the cards off anymore. He's trying to phase me out.
I think we've tried enough spinning here for tonight, so maybe we should get to the end of the show.
For sure. All right, so
that's it for the Facebook questions. So I think we're moving on to say bye to Kris then.
Yes, we are, Kris. Always good to talk to you, my friend.
Oh, it's always brilliant doing this show, guys. I do love it. It's good fun. It keeps me entertained. A big thank you to all of our Patreons. Thanks again for signing up. Said James and Nad both signed up as new patrons, tricking us $1 each. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It helps me a lot. Just make sure I'm not going deeper into debt every time now that I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm literally a bum now. So it's really good. I've got all of this swag. We're giving stuff away every show now just because I want to give back more to you guys, and I wish we could do more. Like I said, the acrylic lack of target lock tokens did come in, so we will be getting those sent off as soon as I can get round to it, along with the batch of prizes. I sat on them until these tokens came in so I can send everything off in one go.
Someone's already played with theirs.
Yeah, I did play with my lack of target lock tokens. They're good fun. It did free up the tokens I was going to send to Ed in his bundle of joy, since it's the only ones he's missing from his prized pool of acrylic.
Prized pool of old ancient acrylic from FFG.
Yeah. I did get a message offering someone to maybe do some acrylic for us cheaper next time. So we did get the bill for those lack of target lock tokens. So I'll try exploring other means than Galaxy Gaming Gear for next time. So if you are an acrylic company and would like to sponsor the show, give us good deals, I feel like I really miss the boat on how advertising works. We pimp out Galaxy Gaming Gear and then pay them money for the acrylics. Oh no,
We do.
it's good. Like I said, they didn't charge us for the first batch, so we got that for free, and we didn't pay retail, so it's not too bad. And shout out to the Sentry Box, who do offer worldwide delivery, because I didn't have $300 to pay for these acrylics when the bill came in. So the Sentry Box paid for it, and they're just going to knock it off my invoice for them. So that was a big help. So thanks God, I love you guys, and thanks for keep giving me money for making a Facebook live stream every week.
Hey, if you've listened to the old Nova Squadron radio and you remember those commercials we used to do where we record them ourselves, we can do that too. Just let Kris know. And
we have 3 commercial breaks a show. They are available for purchase, and we are cheap.
I have plenty of voices. You let us know what you want, I'll do it.
The thing I was thinking about is on the drive home, actually, we can actually shoot a commercial because we have a video format now. We can show off product and stuff like that, and have a video audience. So
that would be really cool. That's actually a really good idea.
No, it's good. Like I said.
And we have a video editing producer somewhere. Oh yeah, Kris, you can do that.
Did I send you guys the Kickstarter link that I did for Von Unschrecklich and Colton?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send. I'm gonna share.
You just love saying.
I do love that. It's such a Von Unschrecklich and Colton of unspeakable. And unsurprisingly, the game's really popular in Germany.
I can imagine.
Really?
Yeah. And I love Lovecraftian stuff, the Lovecraftian mythos. I've got all the Arkham horror, all the FFG games, and Uncle Mike's awesome. I might even just change the sponsorship to Uncle Mike's Worldwide and have him sponsor a show free of charge until we get a real sponsor, so that we can get Ed to say Von Innisbreck and Colton.
Oh God, you don't want me to do that.
Yes.
I'm gonna need a voice coach on that one. I have no. I hear mouth noises. I don't hear words when you say that.
It's okay. When you see it written down, it doesn't get any better. I'll post the link on our Facebook tomorrow. You'll appreciate it. But the
I'll
video.
get Logan to teach you how to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a jingle and everything. It's good.
Ooh.
It's got I did it so like the words come up and then disappear as you sing them, so you can sing along to a jingle. I
Send that
spent
to me.
I spent like 3. I can't remember who the rock star so it's a death metal singer for a real band sang this jingle for us and everything. So I actually produced a real advert, guys. I'm a proper producer. Dice Ace Productions is real, I say. I'm gonna have to find my rule book from Von Innisbreck and Colton and show you my credit in the book.
Congratulations, Chris. That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it was so much fun to do. We got Mike's little girl and like one of his friends' sons to be in the playing Von Innisbreck and Colton on the table, pushing these like Lovecraftian Dunwich horror around and like playing the game and stuff. I got like different shots. It's a really funny video. I'm so proud of that. It came out exactly how we wanted.
Make sure to post it. We'll watch.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done. I've blabbered on enough. This is going to be another 3-hour something show.
It wouldn't be our show if we didn't go off the rails.
Just one last thing. I was in the Discord group chatting with Kris Allen from Crates and stuff, and saying how we did the episode 16. I had to cut it into 2 parts because I didn't want to do a 4-hour show. That was just ridiculous. Then the next show the Crates did was 3 hours 59 minutes.
Oh, wow.
They just because we did it, they're still copying off us.
Still following the format. All right.
We are the standard.
That is going to do it for episode 18. My battery is low and it's getting dark. If you know the reference on that one, drop a comment down on the YouTube channel. That'd be awesome to see if you pick up on what that is. You have to be kind of an uber nerd to pick that one up. Of course, it's been a ton of fun. Always fun to talk to you guys. Next week, hopefully we'll have the Vassal League at least details up and maybe some games talked about. I don't know if you want to call it a league. It's going to be an inter-show battle royale cage match sort of thing. It'll be fun.
The 3 of us kicking Ed's butt.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll end up on the bottom of that list, I assume.
My money's on Sean. But I've put in my money on Sean, to be honest. Ooh. I mean, mate, I've put in a lot of reps, so I'll try and give him a run for his money, but Sean crushed me in the one game we did play, and so did his son. So,
every time you think you're good, they should know there's somebody out there that's way better.
Oh, it wasn't better. I had extremely hot dice that game. Like I could have, I could have rolled dice down a toilet and still hit. So,
it didn't help. I think I was running a stupid fat hand build that just
no. It was it wasn't a fat Han. It was the VC whatever.
Oh yeah, because I ran Han against your son, didn't I?
Yeah, and it was like something like Poe, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like
the VCX just melted.
Yeah, the VCX was gone in like 3 turns, and it wasn't even a game. I think he did like 1 damage to me the whole time.
Oh,
it was brutal. But it's the same thing though when I played Richard Sue at Worlds. Our Worlds are regional. I can't remember what it was, and it was funny because we're playing, and the way the game lined up was great because I started rolling dice, and my dice got hot. And Richard looked over at me. He goes, "I thought your dice sucked," and I just blew him off the board. The moment I took Biggs off the board, the game was over. And then when I played Doug Kinney, so it's funny because I've beaten Doug Kinney, I've beaten Chris, I've beaten Richard Sue. I mean, what more do you want out of your career? In X-Wing,
Yeah, heck yeah.
That's like the best compliment I've ever had, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. But you think about it. In 2013, I couldn't hit a damn thing. I was running. The hell was I? I was running the
was it Rebel Convoy?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, I had range 1 shots against B-wings. This one time, I had everything was shooting at B-wings, and I did 0 damage. B-wings, 1 defense die, 0 damage, and like 3 of the shots were at range 1, and it was just grossly disgusting. It was all I had to do. All I had to do was ion 1 of those B-wings, and I win that game because I put the YTs right in front of them, and all they could do is run into the YTs because I stacked the YTs. Nope. He was able to get past him, and then that was the end of the game.
Aww.
Yeah. So, but against those 3 people, I've had amazing dice. So
I would have taken 1 win against Paul.
You have no idea how proud I am that I just added 10 more minutes to a show.
Yeah.
You were so close. You were in your outro.
I was in my outro. I had already started the cadence. All right, we'll call it on that. We'll call it on that one. So, again, thank you guys for joining the show. Always fun. Next week, we're going to try to get into the Vassal cage match kind of stuff. So, until next episode, guys, fly casual. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out Dice Hate Productions for all of the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.